Chapter 1. Grand Line, New World. On a sea. Debris from the ship's planks could be seen everywhere, and the heavy iron from the rollers sank into the seabed. 4 huge ships are gathering together. Can be seen. One of them was dilapidated, with half of its body in the water, already crumbling and about to sink. The other 3 ships used their horns to block the dilapidated ship. On those 3 ships, the flag was flying with a skull and a crescent-shaped beard between the nose and teeth. This is the flag of the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard pirates. The leader of the New World 4 emperors, its captain Whitebeard is also known as the strongest man in the world. Famous all over the world, resounding throughout the world. Just be in the New World. Even if he is just an insignificant passerby, he still knows the name of the Whitebeard pirates. Now, the battle is almost over. The result is self-evident, the 3 pirate ships of the Whitebeard pirates defeated each other. The opponent's ship has been destroyed, and the pirates on it have suffered numerous casualties. This is a battle between the Whitebeard pirates and another pirate group. Those dispatched were the 2 captains of the Whitebeard pirates. Fire Fist Ace, the captain of the second team, is a user with the ability to burn the burning fruit. He is a rising star pirate who has risen in the past 2 years. He has a bounty of 500 million and is famous all over the world. The captain of the 4th division, Sachi, is the veteran division captain of the Whitebeard pirates. He followed Whitebeard through life and death many years ago. Except for 2 people. There were 2 other people who were extremely brave in this confrontation. One is Sachi, who once competed for the captaincy of the second team, but ended up handing it over to Ace. The other one is the deputy of Team 4 Sachi, Lin Yan, who has been a member of the Whitebeard pirates for some years. Lin Yan? The White Regiment has this number 1 person? That's right. Lin Yan is a blue star traveler. A few years ago, he came to the pirate world due to an accident and time traveled into the body of an 8-year-old child. What can an 8-year-old do? Coincidentally, he met the Whitebeard pirates. And got Whitebeard's permission to join it smoothly. When I realized that in the world of pirates, the weak are the strongest, and if they are not strong enough, they will always be ants. Since then, Lin Yan began his years of hard training in the Whitebeard pirates. What a pity. Not everyone is gifted and specialized. For 12 years, no matter how hard he worked, no matter how hard he practiced, no matter how hard he worked day and night, he, who was not talented enough, could only watch the people around him rise to fame one by one. However, his progress has always been slow, difficult, and he is unable to do anything. To this, Lin Yan also sighed repeatedly. Time travelers are not omnipotent. Fortunately, there is always a way out. 3 years ago, there was finally movement coming from the system that was long overdue. Just when Lin Yan was looking forward to it, the system prompts that you need to obtain the dark fruit to fully activate it. Dark fruit? Hear this tip. Lin Yan couldn't help but feel shocked. You need to know why Teach was able to gain a foothold in the New World and become the new 4 emperors. The dark fruit is indispensable. It was even rumored for a while. The reason why Teach can have dual fruit abilities. Most of them are closely related to the dark fruit. What the system means. Are you letting yourself take away Teach's luck? Seeing this, Lin Yan suddenly smiled. To become stronger, he can do whatever it takes. The dark fruit is the top devil fruit in the New World. Compared to the thunder fruit, compared to the shaking fruit, etc., it is no less. How could Lin Yan not be moved? What about a mere dark fruit? If only it were that simple. That couldn't be better. After getting the system. Lin Yan also secretly explored the footprints of the dark fruit. But he is not the chosen one after all. After years of practice, he was unable to ascend. How could he find the dark fruit so easily? Waited for many years. He even didn't hesitate to join the 4th team, Sachi. Finally. Just today. The dark fruit has a new look. Back to business. After wiping out all the enemies, the 2nd and 4th teams began to clean the battlefield on the ship and collect loot. Hey! I found a devil fruit. Sachi unexpectedly found a box among the broken barrels. Open it and take a look. There is a devil fruit inside that exudes a little bit of black energy. His voice. It immediately attracted the attention of others. When everyone saw the faint purple one in Saki hand, which looked like a pineapple, with a snail-like spiral pattern imprinted on it, everyone was amazed. I didn't expect to find devil fruit on this ship. You are so lucky, Sachi. Ace walked next to Thatch. He looked at the purple devil fruit in front of him and said. The atmosphere in the Whitebeard Pirates is relatively harmonious. Even if you find something extremely precious, such as a devil fruit or other rare treasures. But it can be placed in this family that I miss so much. It is also worth 1,000 pieces of gold and cannot be exchanged for 10,000 pieces of gold. No one would covet this devil fruit. Most people looked at Thatchy with envy. At the same time, encourage yourself secretly. Find it quickly. I also need to find a similar good baby. The lines on this devil fruit are a bit strange. To be honest, I can't figure out what kind of devil fruit it is. Although Sachi is the squad leader. But after practicing hard for many years, he doesn't know much about this devil fruit. Moreover, devil fruit illustrated books are very rare. It is almost impossible to find it on the sea. It's no surprise that he doesn't know him. My Xiao Xiao fruit exudes a fiery red color, but yours is a bit weird. Is it purple or black? Ace frowned and compared it with his original Xiao Xiao fruit. Don't know why. The moment I saw this devil fruit, he suddenly had a strange illusion. It's as if fate has taken hold of it and is strangling it. But, although it exudes black energy, it looks like an ominous thing. But devil fruit is still very mysterious even after hundreds of years of development. No one knows what secrets are hidden behind it. Perhaps. Maybe this black energy is innate to it. Looking at this situation, is it also a Logia devil fruit? After hearing Ace's words, other crew members also began to speculate. Devil fruits vary. But no one can tell what abilities they have. If you eat well, you may soar into the sky like their Captain Whitebeard. Not eating well. Are there still few nameless people in this sea? It can be said. A devil fruit. It directly affects this person's fate for the next half of his life. Since I'm not sure, forget it. If you have time, go back and ask Dad. First, confirm what kind of devil fruit it is. Everyone I saw was unclear. She didn't think much, he just thought that he got a good thing. It's not in vain to work so hard in this firefight today. He closed the box and put it away. However, Thatch didn't notice. Just as he was putting away the box, there were two eyes, staring in this direction intently from the moment he took out the devil fruit. One of them is Lin Yan. Yes. What Thatch found was the dark fruit. This dark fruit. It was also the beginning of his descent into the abyss. Just the moment I saw the dark fruit, Lin Yan looked directly at Teach. Sure enough. Teach also stared at the devil fruit in Thatch's hand. There was excitement, surging, and unconcealable greed in his eyes, and the look of desire even overflowed onto his face, and he couldn't stop it at all. He was always cautious. At this moment, he didn't even notice that someone was patrolling him. Thump. Thump. Teach's heart almost jumped into her throat, and her hands were shaking because of the excitement. For this moment, Teach didn't know how long he had been waiting. The burning desire can no longer be restrained. He wants it. It's this dark fruit. Emperor Tian pays off his conscientious people. Tonight. I'm gonna get it tonight. Blackbeard Teach's eyes were bloodshot. Chapter 2. For everything that's about to happen, Lin Yan calmed down his impetuous heart. Although Teach is extremely eager for the dark fruit, he is not the same. So, just let him see it. This devil fruit. Who will win and win next? This crusade ended successfully. A party is inevitable. Everyone from the second and fourth teams gathered together. The people in the two squads were enjoying themselves. Around the bonfire, people ate large pieces of meat and gulped down drinks. The lively atmosphere ensued, and laughter continued one after another. As for Sachi, who captured a large amount of property and even a mysterious devil fruit, he became the protagonist of this feast. Everyone took turns drinking. Not for a while. Sachi was drunk. I can't do it anymore. Sage burped. Ha 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 ha, Sachi, you are so inferior. Ace laughed while holding the wine jar in his hand, laughing and taunting at the same time. I'll let you this time, don't let me wait until next time. Sachi also knew that he was too drunk, but he was good at talking, and he would fight back no matter what. With the help of everyone, he limped off the deck. The sky has darkened. It's getting late too. After Sachi was brought back to the room, Ace was also tired. The party must come to an end. Some people went back to their rooms, and some fell asleep. The atmosphere was lively just now. It stopped in the blink of an eye. The sound of snoring was endless, resounding throughout the entire deck. Now, no one knows. The turning point for the end of the Whitebeard pirates is happening quietly tonight. Night falls. Black clouds cover the mysterious moon, the sea wind keeps roaring, and the waves are rough. It's a dark and windy night. A figure came to Saki room quietly. Squeak. The door made a slight sound. Sachi, who was sitting in a chair and feeling uncomfortable, looked up. Then with a smile on his face, Saki said, "It's really a joke to the people in their second division. Who can resist me like this?" "You are right, Lin Yan." The person coming was none other than Lin Yan. He was holding a box in his hand and placed it on the table in front of Sachi. Lin Yan said, "Captain Sachi, let's drink something hot so that we can sober up and not feel so uncomfortable." As soon as I opened it, the heat inside hit my face. Sachi took a deep breath and praised, "You are the most attentive among our 4th squadron, but it's a pity. Look at the entire Whitebeard pirates. Lin Yan's strength is not top-notch. But his hard work was noticed by everyone on the ship. Going out early and coming back late, studying and practicing hard every day, some of them may occasionally see Moby DK at 4 in the morning, but for Lin Yan, it is just a daily routine. But due to lack of talent, it's just a matter of drawing water from a bamboo basket." Sachi couldn't help but shake his head after seeing it. For a period of time, he even wanted to let Lin Yan serve as the deputy of the 4th team, but the strength was really insufficient, and New World was strong and weak, so he finally gave up. But it's not about the mind. Lin Yan is beyond the reach of ordinary people. He often makes suggestions for the 4th team, and their 4th team is already in an invincible position before the battle begins. This is also the reason why he can gain a foothold in the Whitebeard pirates. Picking up the hot soup, Sachi drank it in one gulp without saying a word. Feel the warmth coming from inside your body. Even the drunkenness has dissipated a lot. Much more comfortable. Sachi couldn't help but sigh. Next. Inside this room, Lin Yan chatted with Sachi for another half an hour. During this period, Sachi felt dizzy, his eyes were dull, and his body was shaky. After all, he still couldn't bear it. His head sank and he fell on the table on the spot. Seeing Sachi unconscious, Lin Yan sighed. Good. He added something to the hangover soup. It can make people unconscious in a short period of time. But it won't cause any serious harm to your body, and you will feel refreshed after waking up. Talk about it. For Sachi. For this huge Whitebeard pirates. Lin Yan was grateful. After all, I was able to survive almost entirely because of the Whitebeard pirates. Sachi is the leader of their 4th team again. He also takes good care of himself. If developed according to the original work, Thatch will definitely be killed by Teach for the dark fruit. Take away the dark fruit yourself. Firstly, it can help Sachi get through the difficulties, and secondly, it can also activate his own system smoothly. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, getting the best of both worlds. At least Lin Yan thought so. "I'm sorry, Captain Sachi, I have to do this for the sake of the dark fruit." Lin Yan didn't want to be a salted fish for the rest of his life. He stood up and came to the side. The small box containing the dark fruit was very eye-catching. Lin Yan had already caught it when he entered. "Raise your hand and take off the box." When he opened it, he found that it was the dark fruit obtained by Sachi during the day. The dark fruit is held in the hand. At this moment, Lin Yan's eyes flashed with greed. "I wish I could swallow it directly into my belly now." Fortunately, he still held back. After accepting the dark fruit, Lin Yan came to Saki's side. "Saki, without this dark fruit, I wouldn't have the capital to survive. If you feel resentment towards me because of this, I will wait for you. Leave this sentence behind." With ambition in mind, Lin Yan quickly left Saki direction. Before that, he had already placed a small boat in the cabin. "I thought of it just in case of emergencies, but now it finally comes in handy." He didn't hesitate at all. In this silent night, when everyone is immersed in sleep, with dark fruits. Taking a small boat, Lin Yan set foot on the sea. The sea breeze roared, and the cool cold wind slapped on the face. In the envelope of darkness, Lin Yan disappeared into the sea area and left quietly. Chapter 3. Lin Yan just left. About 2 or 3 hours later, another sneaky figure sneaked into Sachi's room quietly. Just came in. Teach then noticed Sachi, who was sleeping directly on the table. With a cold look in his eyes, he slowly walked out of the darkness. Sachi? Sachi. He called softly a few times, but Sachi, who was lying on the table, remained indifferent, breathing steadily and snoring. Teach was surprised, but he didn't expect that Sachi would be so sleepy. It seems that those people's drinking has some effect. Breathed a sigh of relief. Teach quickly searched the room. After a while, the small box of dark fruit shot into his eyes. Teach was overjoyed. Grabbed the box. Can't wait to open it and take a look. Immediately afterwards, Teach's pupils tightened for a while, and then his face became extremely gloomy. Inside the small box. Empty. How is this possible? How is this possible? I was so excited when I first came in. After seeing that there was nothing in the box, Teach's face became ferocious. This guy Sachi. I clearly saw him using this box to store the dark fruit. Why? Maybe not. Teach's movement is quite big. Even with the help of medicine, Sachi still woke up. After taking a look at the person in front of me, it was Teach. Sage's face was full of confusion and he was defenseless. He said, Teach, why are you here? His voice made Teach startle, turn around, and look at Sachi looking at him with curious eyes. Teach quickly adjusted his facial expression, calmed down and asked, Ace said you drank a lot, let me come over and take a look. Sachi nodded and showed his original expression, Ace, this guy seems to have his heart. It's strange. He just drank some hangover soup, and his head is so heavy. Hangover soup? Teach's ears moved and he instantly captured this keyword. Taking a look at SA key table, he saw a food box. Inside the food box was still warm soup. It was obvious that someone had come to Sachi's room before. Could it be? Teach's expression changed. Is it possible that I am going to miss out on the dark fruit? However, Teach still chose to have a glimmer of hope. He asked, where are the devil fruits you captured today? I have a lot of experience in devil fruit illustrations, and I may be able to help you judge one or two. You mean that devil fruit? They were all members of the Whitebeard pirates, and since they had just woken up, Thatch yawned. He didn't think much about it, pointed to the small box on the bookshelf and said, isn't it inside the box? At the same time, Thatch added, Tisk, Teach, I really can't tell that you still have this ability. That devil fruit illustrated book. I can't even memorize it. In our fourth team, it seems that only Lin Yan can tell the difference. Teach opened the box without saying a word. Sachi, where is your devil fruit? It's not in it at all. Watching the box open, there was nothing inside. Sachi was also slightly startled, and even his groggy head woke up a lot. He couldn't help but rub his eyes. Hey? I obviously put it in this box. Teach's face was gloomy to the extreme. With Sachi's groggy state, it was obvious that he would not lie. He hurriedly asked, Sachi, who came over just now to give you hangover soup? It was obvious that the effects of Saki's medicine had not worn off, so he muttered, it's Lin Yan, and it's all thanks to him, otherwise I would still be feeling uncomfortable now. Linear. Lin Yan. Teach was overwhelmed with emotion, his fists clenched, and his whole body was trembling. The matter has come to light, it must be the dark fruit that Lin Yan took away. This guy, he definitely realizes the special nature of the dark fruit. Damn, you really deserve to die. Because he is familiar with the devil fruit illustrations, Teach is familiar with many kinds of fruits, and the same is true for the dark fruits. The dark fruit is special enough, and so is itself. The two complement each other. If you want to achieve the goal in your heart, the secret fruit is indispensable. But Teach couldn't think of it. Just because of an oversight. Dark fruit. It was actually obtained by others. I have been lurking for so long, I have been hiding for so long, and I have worked so hard for a dark fruit. How could Teach accept today's failure? In just a moment, Teach imagined countless possibilities in his mind. Lin Yan covets an An's fruit? Does Lin Yan have the same special characteristics as himself? Lin Yan knows some kind of ability of the dark fruit? But what Teach really couldn't figure out was, Lin Yan obviously looks so ordinary, his talent is almost too poor, and he is a stepping stone in the valley. Even though he has the trust of Teach in the 4th team, to be honest, Teach has never looked at him. But Teach couldn't think of anything. Such an ordinary person. Such a person that I once looked down upon. He took away the dark fruit, took away everything he had, and took away the things he had dreamed of and wanted. He hides deeper than himself, and even does things neatly and without leaving any traces. Lin. Smoke. Vicious resentment came from Teach's mouth, and he almost shouted these 2 words through gritted teeth. The low roar made the surrounding air condense. Seeing Teach's ferocious appearance, Sachi became a little more energetic. He shouted, "Teach, what are you? Not finished yet? Just listen to Puff." Sage's expression suddenly changed. He looked down and saw that Teach's hand had been inserted into his chest. As he pulled harder, Teach tore out a still beating heart. Blood dripped down, staining the wooden boards on the ground red, extremely bright. Organs involving the heart were pulled out one after another, and the nausea reached its peak. The severe pain made Sachi suddenly wake up. He was about to shout out, but his hoarse throat couldn't utter a single word. "You're such a tough guy, can't you even see Lin Yan's tricks? Why let him take away the dark fruit so smoothly? Do you know what this dark fruit means to me? It is everything to me. You know what? Trash." Teach seemed to be going crazy. He pulled out the heart and squeezed it hard, causing Sachi's heart to break. What's more, Teach felt uneasy, so he directly wrapped the organ tube around Sachi's neck, and then pulled hard. His eyes were red and exuding murderous intent. Teach hadn't been so angry for an unknown amount of time. The power quickly passed away, blood was scattered on the ground, and anger rushed to his mind, and Sachi stopped struggling. After a while, his pupils dimmed and his head drooped. To his death, Teach could not understand why Teach had such hatred for him when it came to Lin Yan and the dark fruit. Without knowing why, he died in Teach's hands. Chapter 4. The dark fruit has been stolen. No matter how you vent your anger, it won't help. Looking at the already dead Sachi on the ground and the messy environment around him, Teach closed his eyes and took a long time to calm down. It's not like he doesn't understand the temperament of the crew members of the Whitebeard pirates. Once something happens to any of the crew members, they will be greeted by the endless anger of the Whitebeard pirates. This is also the reason why the pirates from the outside world dare not provoke the Whitebeard pirates. We must not let the third person know that I killed Sage. After looking at the surrounding environment, there was such an eye-catching food box. Teach is not cunning, and he has an idea in his mind almost instantly. Now that the deal is settled, it might as well be to blame Lin Yan for Saki death. No need to think about it. Now Lin Yan almost rolled up his things and left. With all the physical evidence available for absconding out of fear of crime, it is not difficult to pin this label on Lin Yan. Instead of letting yourself continue to wait for the dark fruit, it is better to borrow the hands of the Whitebeard pirates and let them eradicate Lin Yan. By then, looking for opportunities myself. It's not impossible to regain the dark fruit. Moreover, in the past, it was just a aimless search for the dark fruit. Now that Lin Yan is in front of him, he won't have to look around. If you can keep staring at each other, the chance of obtaining the dark fruit is definitely unmatched before. Think of this. Teach quickly began to clean up the scene and redressed Sachi's body. At least on the surface, it doesn't seem to have anything to do with me. To be cautious, Teach immediately went to Lin Yan's room to explore. As expected, Lin Yan had already disappeared here. Thinking that this guy might have taken the dark fruit at this moment, the anger in Teach's heart couldn't help but become a little bigger. It was before. After getting the dark fruit, Teach naturally wants to leave the Whitebeard pirates quickly and start a new company. But now, without the help of the Whitebeard pirates, not to mention searching for Lin Yan, which is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Even if he finds it, he may not be able to get it easily if he has the dark fruit. Although I have never seen the strength of the dark fruit with my own eyes, I have heard about it. Even if Lin Yan is not very talented, it is still easy to reach the top in one step. This is the unique strength that devil fruit brings to the user. It is also a goal that countless people want to pursue throughout their lives. Take this step to take away the dark fruit. Lin Yan miscalculated. He originally thought that taking the dark fruit first would allow Teach to let Thatch go and change his life. But in the end, Sachi died in Teach's hands. He even put the blame on himself. He underestimated the dark fruit's desire for Teach to pursue power, and also underestimated Teach's hatred for losing the dark fruit. A deserted island. Lin Yan's lone boat docked at the coast. The weather in the New World is complex and unpredictable. It is simply a dream to cross the ocean with a single boat. Moreover, as the 4 emperors of the New World, Whitebeard's jurisdiction is not very large. Going down to Fishman Island and going up to all sea areas, they all belong to the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. In a short period of time, it was almost impossible for Lin Yan to escape from this place. Fortunately, he is weak on his own. Even Whitebeard uses all his hands. I'm afraid it will take some effort to search for myself. The uninhabited desert island is the best shelter. This defection. You must be careful at all times. The center of the island. After confirming that this is a deserted island, your own safety can be guaranteed. Lin Yan took out his dark fruit. Look at the strange patterns on it. Take a deep breath. He bit it immediately. Before I could chew it, the bitter taste inside hit my nostrils. Even though Lin Yan was well prepared, he still put on the mask of pain, bared his teeth, and looked extremely ugly. What's more, his face was full of disgust, and the taste was almost indescribable. Even so. But he still insisted on eating the entire devil fruit. I know that one bite of devil fruit is enough, but that is just hearsay after all. The opportunity to change the trajectory of your life is just around the corner. Lin Yan definitely didn't leave any room for criticism, and swallowed the entire devil fruit with difficulty. He grabbed the drinking water that had been prepared on the side and poured it directly into his mouth. Gulu gulu, hiccup. During this period, half an hour passed, and Lin Yan finally regained consciousness. It took me so long to get this devil fruit, I hope the system will not let me down. Suddenly. Just then. A voice came from Lin Yan's mind. Congratulations to host, you have taken the dark fruit, the conditions are met, and the system is officially activated. Activating, 5%, 10%, 50%, 100%. Activation completed. In front of Lin Yan, a high-tech panel appeared. The panel has a sense of future technology, with all kinds of virtual lights displayed on it, which is dazzling and overwhelming. At the same time, your own information is also at a glance. Character, Lin Yan. Talent, mediocre fruit, dark fruit. LV1 ability, physical skills. LV30 haki, armed color haki. LV12 note, LV represents level, the full level is 100. See your own panel. Lin Yan nodded slightly. The system is pretty good. Before there was no dark fruit. What Lin Yan practiced hard was physical skills. Armed haki can only be mastered by many captains of the Whitebeard pirates. It's a pity that even if you practice so far, you can only reach this level. Lin Yan couldn't help but shake his head. His talent was really poor. It is detected that the host is browsing the system for the first time, and we will officially give you a novice gift package. Gift packs for newbies are being distributed. Distribution completed. Congratulations to host for getting 3-color domineering. Congratulations to host for getting talent skill points *3. Congratulations to host for obtaining 6 months of training experience *5. Congratulations to host for getting space treasure bag. Congratulations to host for getting fruit side effects cleared. Moment. A full 5 abilities were integrated into Lin Yan's body. Lin Yan's heart moved, and then he quickly looked towards the reward window. The first 3-color haki, although he himself mastered the armed color, it can be seen that whence and conquerors cannot be acquired after all. Now that the system has completed it, all 3-color haki is in hand, and the future will be smooth. The second talent skill point, what is Lin Yan lacking now? Naturally, mediocre talent cannot be mediocre. Sometimes he once sighed for this. Now that the talent point came, he applied it to himself without saying a word. On the body. The third item is 6 months of cultivation experience, and there is also the mark *5. If you calculate it carefully, the number added up. Although it always feels a little weird. But this can also save yourself a lot of practice time. The fifth one is the space treasure bag. Just looking at these 5 words, Lin Yan can roughly guess that it is similar to the system warehouse, and it will be much more convenient to carry items in the future. The last one was the one that made Lin Yan's eyes light up the most. The side effects of the fruit are eliminated. What does this mean? The side effects of the dark fruit are so great that even Teach was tortured to death. And in addition, for example, those with fruit abilities are afraid of sea water, afraid of sea tower stones, etc., they will not be given to Lin Yan in the future. With such side effects eliminated, how can he not be surprised? Character, Lin Yan. Talent, Outstanding Fruit, Dark Fruit LV15 Ability, Physical Skills LV35 Haki, Armed Haki LV20, Knowledge Haki LV15, Conqueror's Haki LV15. Looking at his system panel again, Lin Yan couldn't help but take a deep breath. To know. After spending so many years practicing in the Whitebeard Pirates, my physical skills have only reached LV30. Now, after obtaining the talent skill points, in just 2.5 years of training bonuses, many of my abilities have been upgraded to the LV25 level. Talent bonus. It's really not comparable to ordinary things. There is no harm without contrast. It was worth noting that he had gone through a lot of effort to capture Teach's dark fruit. Overall, just the novice gift package given by the system this time. Lin Yan was very helpful. Chapter 5. Just then, Lin Yan suddenly saw a huge sigh in the corner of the system. Click to take a look. I saw a pop-up window coming my way. The system has been activated, please host complete the task as soon as possible. Main mission, establish a pirate group. Request, as a pirate, what can you do without a pirate group? Host is requested to have an exquisite ship as a navigation tool as soon as possible. The staff should be at least 5 people including host, and ensure that everyone has influence in the original work. Achieved level A. Reward, S-level lottery. Side mission, evade pursuit. Requirement, within 1 month, you will not be caught by the Whitebeard Pirates. Reward, B-level lottery. Side mission, practice hard. Request, please host to practice hard for a month. Reward, C-level lottery. Lin Yan hurriedly took a look at the tasks released by the system. Generally speaking, by completing the tasks, you can get the corresponding rewards. The rewards are divided into C-level, B-level, A-level, and S-level from bottom to top. Among them, C-level is the worst and S-level is the strongest. Although I don't know what kind of reward I will get after completing the task. But it is undeniable that this is the only way to become stronger. Whether it is establishing a pirate group or practicing hard. For Lin Yan, these are all part of the road to becoming stronger. Something that must be done sooner or later. The only thing that puzzled him was the second task. Escape from the Whitebeard Pirates? What does this mean? Lin Yan was extremely puzzled, why would the system issue such a task? Although what he did was a bit unkind and he took away Thatchy's devil fruit. No matter how angry Thatch is, he won't use all the strength of the Whitebeard Pirates to destroy him, right? Could it be that something happened to the Whitebeard Pirates? After thinking about it, Lin Yan had no clue. Instead of waiting, it is better to concentrate on practicing. It just so happens that there is no one around here to disturb him. Lin Yan found a cave and quickly began to practice his dark fruit. As a top-level fruit, its internal impact was so overbearing that even Lin Yan could hardly withstand it. The ability to simply have side effects has long been of no use to him. No matter how domineering the dark fruit is, it can only settle down and slowly turn into energy, flowing throughout Lin Yan's body. And Lin Yan's strength also improved rapidly in a short period of time. In the blink of an eye. Half a month passed like this. I have to say that the bonus of talent is very significant. Lin Yan's strength has skyrocketed. I originally planned to complete the 2 branches on the deserted island. Unexpectedly today, something that made Lin Yan frown still happened. Standing on the highest mountain on the island, Lin Yan looked toward the seaside. Around the abandoned island, 3 fleets appeared. There is a pirate flag hanging on the fleet. There is a huge skull on the flag and an inverted beard under the skull. The flag is fluttering in the sea breeze. Lin Yan was naturally familiar with this pirate flag. No need to think about it. The Whitebeard Pirates are here. How did they find this place? Lin Yan narrowed his eyes and quickly disappeared on the island. After the Whitebeard Pirates landed on the island, they immediately launched a blanket search. Recalling the mission issued by the system, the Whitebeard Pirates were chasing him. He wondered why the people of the Whitebeard Pirates were so obsessed with him. Even on such a deserted island, no effort was spared to conduct such an intensive search. What really happened to the Whitebeard Pirates? Report, we found traces of human life in a cave. A soldier hurriedly ran to the big vortex spider's yard, and he reported. Go check it out. Skiyard stood up and immediately ran towards the cave with his men. Just arrived at the scene. Skiyard's eyes instantly turned cold. As a modern person, Lin Yan naturally has many modern habits. After living in the Whitebeard pirates for so long, more or less these habits were brought to him on the Moby Dick. Skiyard had just walked in, and he knew clearly with just one glance that these must be the footprints of Lin Yan's life. With his fists clenched and a little murderous aura bursting out of his body, Skiyard said coldly, "I finally caught your tail." The subordinate on the side did a little inspection. "Sir Skiyard, these things have been used by geniuses recently. Lin Yan must still be on this abandoned island." Skiyard was also polite, "Search with all your strength, don't let me spare even an ant." "Yes." The hands and feet of the people below became even faster, with hatred on their faces, and they wanted to turn the huge abandoned island upside down. Not only that, Squard even shouted directly on the desert island, "Lin Yan, if you really still regard yourself as a member of the Whitebeard pirates, then come out and meet me." Watching the crew of the Whitebeard pirates pressing forward step by step. Soon, their hiding place will be found by them. Lin Yan deliberately wanted to escape by water. The side effects of devil fruit are no longer limited. If you want to leave. It wasn't impossible for Lin Yan to swim out. Only. Driven by doubts in my heart. Lin Yan decided not to hide anymore and stepped forward to confront him about what happened. Skiyard sat on a boulder, his eyes closed. Suddenly, there were bursts of footsteps in my ears. Skiyard hadn't opened his eyes yet, but he said directly, "I thought you, a hidden rat like you, didn't dare to show up. How come you finally show up after knowing that you can't leave?" Lin Yan looked at Skiyard with complicated eyes. Although Skiyard is not a member of the 16th Division, he is one of the 43 captains of the Whitebeard Pirates Grand Fleet. In terms of identity and status, he is not inferior to any captain of the White Squadron. He has become even more famous among the Whitebeard pirates, and has been famous in the New World for many years. Lin Yan said, "Did something happen to the Whitebeard pirates?" Chapter 6. Hearing Lin Yan's words, Skiyard opened his eyes suddenly, veins popped up on his forehead, his chest was burning with anger, and his murderous aura was suddenly released, heading straight for Lin Yan. After standing up, Skiyard took a step forward, raised his finger and pointed at Lin Yan, and said angrily, "I don't know how you can have the face to say such a thing. In the 4th team, Sachi should tell you not bad, right? Why would you do such a thing to Sachi?" Lin Yan frowned, and he heard some clues from Skiyard's words. Sachi. Something must have happened. Wrong. He has already taken away the dark fruit. Sachi should never have to face that kind of experience again. He took a deep breath and calmed down. Lin Yangsun asked, "What's wrong with She? It's better not to say this." The moment it was spoken, the murderous aura on Skiyard's body became even stronger. In an instant, the surrounding stones were forced to retreat, and waves of air surged into the sky, and dragons soared around the fields. Skiyard held his hand on the handle of the knife, took out the long knife from its sheath, and pointed the tip of the knife at Lin Yan's neck. "Don't you know what you are doing? You are still pretending now. I will kill you, you traitor. Say it." Skiyard took action directly. The knife struck Lin Yan's head. Lin Yan would naturally not sit still and wait for death. He ducked and avoided the knife. After the first blow failed, Skiyard attacked again. He was flying at a fast speed, with wind blowing under his feet, and his speed was even better than before. Wherever the long sword is directed, there are bursts of sharp edges. Each blade is heavier than the last, and the murderous intent is getting more intense each time. If it were in the past, Lin Yan would definitely not be Skiyard's opponent. You can obtain the dark fruit and activate the system. He has many abilities at his disposal. He also has the strength to compete with Skiyard. In the blink of an eye, the two fought for more than 30 rounds. You come and I go, no matter who wins or loses. Hey! Skiyard was doubly surprised. He stared at Lin Yan closely and said, "Lin Yan, how come you have become so strong?" Lin Yan's talent, not to mention Skiyard, was well known to almost everyone on the Moby Dick. Although it is an excessive effort, in the end, the talent is limited to this, which makes people secretly regret it. Never thought about it. After taking away the dark fruit for a few days, Lin Yan's strength unexpectedly increased to the point where he could compare with himself. But Skiyard was only slightly shocked. He angrily rebuked, "Thankfully, I used to think you were a good person, a person worthy of close friendship, and someone who can integrate into our entire family. I really didn't expect you to be so despicable. You don't have much talent, so you were accepted by Daddy as an exception, and you were promoted to the 4th team. In order to make sure that there is no barrier between you, Sachi has taken enough care of you, right? What's the result? Is this how you compensate him? Lin Yan said guiltily, I am indeed sorry for She about this matter. If you can, please say sorry to him on my behalf. Upon hearing this, Lin Yan not only dared to mention She, but also apologized to She on his behalf. Skiard's heart was churning, he wished he could skin Lin Yan alive, he said, absurd. Why do you ask me to bring you a message? Why do you dare to say such a thing? Thatch is dead. If you continue to capture me without restraint, I will ask you to go down and be buried with Sachi right now. As soon as this statement came out, even Lin Yan couldn't help but be stunned. He looked at Skiard in disbelief, and said with a horrified expression, what did you say? What happened to Sachi? Skiard gritted his teeth and his eyes burst out with anger, now that things have happened, you are still so brazen. My patience has reached its limit. I just brutally killed Sachi and made his body look like neither a human nor a ghost. You are an ungrateful guy who repays kindness with evil. If I don't kill you today, I, Skiard, will not be a human being. Skiard's eyes were full of determination, as if this battle would determine their life and death. With his roar, the battle broke out instantly. Skiard rushed towards Lin Yan and slashed with his sword, making a crisp impact and sparks flying. His movements were agile and powerful, and every attack was full of power and skill. The sword's momentum was like a gust of wind, and it continuously attacked Lin Yan. Lin Yan responded calmly, using his dark fruit to deftly resist every attack. Skiard's sword energy blasted out like a cannonball, with powerful force, directly hitting Lin Yan's body. Of course, his attack had no effect at all. Once the elements were transformed, the sword energy passed through Lin Yan's body. At this time, Lin Yan launched a counterattack and activated the secret fruit. In a moment, Skiard was knocked back by this blow, but he did not give up. Instead, he readjusted his posture and attacked Lin Yan again. The collision of knives and fists continued, and the battle between the two became more and more intense. Skiard used his special skills to capture the opponent and bring him back to the Moby DK. But in the end, compared to Lin Yan, Skiard's moral skills were inferior. With a muffled sound, Skiard was kicked out by Lin Yan. Take advantage of this gap. Lin Yan explained, Skiard, I didn't kill Sachi. Skiard held his numb chest, and there was a huge footprint on it. This made him even more angry, and he yelled at Lin Yan, who else would it be if it weren't for you? Why would you run away if it weren't for you? You traitor! Laozi wants to cut you to death with 1,000 knives. Lin Yan lowered his head, knowing that this was the situation. I am absolutely speechless. It was absolutely impossible to follow Skiard back. Even if I jump into the Yellow River, I can't wash away the stigma on my head now. In the huge whitebeard pirates, I don't know how many people want to kill me. The only thing that made him feel strange was, how could Sachi die for no reason? Logically speaking, shouldn't he get through this disaster? Suddenly, Lin Yan raised his head suddenly. By the way, it's Teach, it must be him. It's not difficult to guess the rules and regulations. Teach has been coveting the dark fruit for a long time. He finally found a way, but he got there first. Thinking that the first person to get the dark fruit was She, he became angry and killed She. Yes. That must be it. Think of this. Lin Yan's face suddenly darkened. Chapter 7. So far, Lin Yan also knew that his explanations were pale now, and the top priority was to get rid of Skiard in front of him. He has clearly seen that Skiard's subordinates are reporting to the Whitebeard pirates. If you stay here for a long time, I'm afraid the other members of the Whitebeard pirates will arrive here next. As it stands now, he is definitely no match for them. Think of this. Lin Yan no longer held back. In an instant, he turned into a flash of light and attacked Skiard with lightning speed. Skiard was not afraid, holding a long knife in his hand, and cut in front of him, if there was still room for negotiation before. So this time, Lin Yan used all his strength. With just one move, Skiard was knocked over. This ability. Skiard was shocked, and he quickly reacted, this devil fruit is really not simple. No wonder you would choose to take the risk, kill Sachi in this way, and take this fruit from his hands. Skyard didn't pay attention to Lin Yan at all before. After all, no matter how strong Lin Yan was, in the end, he was just like that. Even if he was at a disadvantage in the fight just now, Skyard still believed that he had the capital to make a comeback. But with Lin Yan now at full strength, he knocked himself down in less than a second. Skyard also suddenly realized, Lin Yan has already surpassed him, far surpassing him in terms of strength. Looking at Skyard, who fell to the ground, Lin Yan explained again, I have indeed been waiting for this devil fruit for many years, but Skyard, you have to know that Captain Sachi has been kind to me. I will never attack Captain Thatch for this devil fruit. Humph, do you think I will believe your sophistry? Skyard's attitude remained the same from beginning to end. Since you keep saying that you were wronged, then tell me who killed Captain Sage. It's Teach. Lin Yan said the name without politeness. Although he also knows that if he wants to convince the other party, the chance is very slim. This is the current situation. Everyone on the entire Whitebeard pirates. There is no reason to believe that Teach did this. Sure enough. After hearing this name, Squard suddenly laughed. He raised his long knife, pointed at Lin Yan and shouted, Teach? You are so anxious that you have already started biting people. In order to avenge Teach, Teach is the person in our Whitebeard pirates who wants to kill you the most. Now you actually want to frame him. Hear this answer. Lin Yan narrowed his eyes. You don't need to think about it to know that Teach has done everything possible for his dark fruit. In the past, I didn't know where the Anan fruit was, but now I know that the Anan fruit is in my hands. It is expected that he will make a big fuss about himself. Become stronger. It's the only way to survive. For such a situation, Lin Yan was not surprised. He also knew that there was no point in continuing to say this. Lin Yan took a deep breath and said, Skyard, I think you should have seen that you are no match for me. At the same time, you can't catch me, and I don't want to get entangled with you anymore. Squard sneered, I have used the phone bug to contact other people. Are you afraid that other captains of the Whitebeard pirates are about to arrive? Yes and no. Lin Yan raised his hand, and a wisp of black smoke turned into his hand, strangled Skyard's neck, and then lifted him up. If possible, I wouldn't mind using you as a bargaining chip for blackmail and a means of escape. Delusion. Skyard's expression changed. He naturally knew what Lin Yan was thinking, and he said fiercely. You have no right to choose. Lin Yan said calmly. As he held and strangled Skyard's neck, the other members of the large fleet around him did not dare to continue to take action. Lin Yan also said unceremoniously, arrange a ship for me, or I will strangle him to death right now. Said. The hand holding Skyard's neck tightened a little more. Seeing Skyard's face turned red, the members of the large fleet thought for a while and arranged a boat for Lin Yan. Lin Yan was not polite and took Squard directly to the ship. After boarding the ship, Lin Yan released Skyard directly. Skyard's face darkened, and he was a little surprised, you actually let me go. It started from the moment he was captured alive by Lin Yan. Skyard knew that he was probably in danger. After all, just how Sage died. It was difficult for him not to have so-called prejudice against Lin Yan. He has even done it. If there is a chance later, he will definitely lure Lin Yan into the water. At worst, both Jade and Stone will be destroyed. It is enough to live this life in this world. Recalling the honor that my father brought me. For the Whitebeard pirates. Skyard can ignore anything. Unexpectedly, when he was ready for everything, Lin Yan did the opposite. This also made his expression change. The look he looked at Lin Yan was very strange. Why not? Lin Yan looked at Skyard in front of him, and he continued, we don't have any deep hatred, right? Skyard took a deep breath. Although he was lucky enough to survive, he did not pay the bill. Humph, stop pretending here, I won't thank you for killing Captain Sage and this humiliation. If I have a chance in the future, I will definitely repay you 100 times. Hearing this, Lin Yan nodded, I will give you this opportunity. If you want to come, then go ahead. If you still think you have the strength in the future. Now that I have obtained the dark fruit and activated the system. Not to mention Skyard. Even the other division captains in the Whitebeard pirates. Lin Yan is also completely confident that he will be out of reach of them. What's more, it is not impossible to sit on the four emperors position that countless people have spent their whole lives on. Squard, I would like to ask you to give Dad a message. As they were leaving, Lin Yan couldn't help but speak again. You are really brave. Squard shouted. No matter how angry Squard was, Lin Yan said to himself, I do covet Sachi's devil fruit, and it was me who stole it, but I can promise Dad that from the beginning to the end, I didn't. He has no intention of killing Captain Sachi, let alone anyone in the Whitebeard pirates. I will never forget the kindness he cultivated back then. If there is a crisis in the future for the Whitebeard pirates, I will definitely do my best to help. After finishing this sentence, a lone boat slowly sailed towards the sea. Squard and a group of people in the large fleet were left looking at the sea in front of them with complicated expressions. Squard's frown gradually relaxed. Just this series of actions by Lin Yan. It was obvious that he was not the real culprit behind the murder of Captain Sage. And according to Lin Yan's character in the past, he was definitely not such a person. Either he is not discerning enough and cannot see through Lin Yan's disguise. Or, maybe there's something fishy about this. Chapter 8. Lin Yan, did he really say that? On the Moby DK, there was a huge chair in the center of the entire deck. Whitebeard was sitting on the chair, drinking water and listening to Squard's report below. Squard nodded, exactly. Dad, this. Marco looked at Whitebeard. Could it be that they really misunderstood Lin Yan? Not to mention Squard, in fact, even they couldn't believe that this was something Lin Yan could do. After all, the relationship between Lin Yan and She is so friendly. At least not something that can be practiced on the surface. Certainly. They think so. Doesn't mean other people would think so. Unforgettable? Will you help our Whitebeard pirates when we encounter a crisis in the future? What a foolish dream. Some cotters had sneers on their faces, especially those in the 4th division. Many people hated Lin Yan deeply and even spoke tit for tat. That's right, what qualifications does he have to say such a thing? Seiki is a person who has been with us for so many years. But because of a devil fruit, he killed him on the spot. Lin Yan is just a villain. Some other members of the Whitebeard pirates followed closely and echoed, all with hatred for Lin Yan on their faces. Under their influence, many division captains also began to hate Lin Yan. I wish I could arrest him now and bring him to justice. But while the people below were still busy expressing their opinions, Whitebeard was not moved by this. He supported his chin with one hand and stroked the chair with the other. His brows were furrowed and his face was depressed. After living for so many years, he became the 4 emperors of the New World, and was praised by countless people as one of the 3 great pirates of the old era. Although his strength has declined in recent years, he no longer has the sharp edge he once had. He is half buried in the ground at sunset, drinking water every day, and even wine has been banned by Marco and the others. But even so, Whitebeard's vision of people is never bad. When She died, he was naturally angrier than ever before. The burst of energy almost tore the entire Moby DK to pieces. The target of the attack was pointed at Lin Yan, and he almost started a riot. But after a few days of settling, he recalled what Lin Yan had done on the Moby DK. Lin Yan is not the kind of person who can do the same thing. Moreover, the 2 of them were in the 4th division. They didn't say they were brothers, but they also cherished each other. It was precisely because Lin Yan was handling the affairs within the division that the 4th division was able to thrive. This was an atmosphere that other divisions never had. Said without politeness. As long as Lin Yan says he wants the dark fruit, She would definitely not hide it secretly. Thinking of Lin Yan's hard work over the years, it could only support him to get here. If you can rely on the dark fruits to make further progress, not only will he give it, he will even offer it with generous hands. Plus, what Squard brought back was sound. Apart from the dark fruit, Lin Yan really had no reason to attack She. This also made Whitebeard fall into deep thought. Could it be? Is it really not his doing? But since it's not Lin Yan, so who killed Sage? Who will kill Sage? What good does Sachi's death do to someone? My thoughts seemed to be knotted. Whitebeard was a little confused. This matter is definitely not as simple as imagined. Marco. After a long silence, Whitebeard spoke. Dad. Marco stepped forward quickly. Whitebeard glanced at the distant sky, an array of light shot out from his eyes, like a dragon rising out of the sea and flying thousands of miles into the sky. He said calmly, "Where is Ace now?" Marco was stunned for a moment, and then quickly replied, "Ace, is currently looking for Lin Yan all over the world. Ever since the Sachi incident, it wasn't just Teach who was looking for Lin Yan like crazy. The same goes for Ace. After all, that was the day Sachi died. He was also on that ship. So far, Ace is very remorseful. If only I hadn't been drunk that day, if I was still somewhat sober that day, he would never let such a tragedy happen in front of him. But all this, it's too late. Only in the endless pursuit can Ace get rid of the guilt in his heart. After a moment of silence, Whitebeard continued, "Let Ace come back." As soon as these words came out, other officers around the Moby DK were a little confused. "Dad, why is this?" After Skiyard contacted other squad leaders through the phone bug, Ace rushed towards the deserted island almost immediately. Now, in order to find Lin Yan, Ace almost risked his life. Now that Ace is told to withdraw, Ace is unwilling to do so, and they are also unwilling to do so. I have carefully considered this matter, and the probability of Lin Yan taking action is too small. Even if all the spearheads are pointed at him, even if he is after a secret fruit, I still have an intuition that this matter was not done by him. Either we misunderstood, or something happened midway. Whitebeard expressed his thoughts. But Dad, you also said that this is just your guess. What if it is really Lin Yan? Yeah, maybe he was afraid of us, so he asked Skiyard to send the message. Dad, you must not believe his tricks. Whether it's reasonable or not, I just know that I will definitely avenge Sachi. The Cotters still wanted to stick to their opinions, with unprecedented hatred in their eyes. Marco touched his chin, as if he had figured something out, and asked, "Dad, what do you want to do?" Whitebeard breathed out and glanced at the water pump next to him. The water in the tube above the water tank was continuously gathering towards his body. He said, "With Lin Yan's character and his hard work over the years, now after getting the dark fruit, your strength has definitely improved to a new level. Soon, Ace may not be his opponent. When you call Ace back, remember to release some news to the outside world, just say." At this point, Whitebeard paused, withdrew his gaze, and looked at Marco. "I just want to meet Lin Yan. More than anything else, I want to see how he explains it face to face. Of course, if he agrees." The Cotters and crew members chatted endlessly, and they were particularly puzzled by Whitebeard's behavior. Marco didn't think too much. He nodded heavily, "I understand. Dad, you are right." While talking, blue gold flames bloomed behind him. Putting one foot on the deck, Marco rose into the air, his whole body turned into an eagle, and quickly flew away into the distance. Watching Marco's leaving back, Whitebeard closed his eyes again, and the entire deck of the Moby DK fell into silence again. Aside, Josie and Baista did not speak. Unlike others, they were also the people who got along closest with Lin Yan. Whitebeard didn't believe that they were not like this. If there is a chance. Naturally, they also hoped to confront Lin Yan face to face. Chapter 9. Stepping on a lonely boat, crossing the ocean. Lin Yan looked at the sea in front of him. He didn't know whether Skiyard would tell Whitebeard what he said. At the same time, he didn't know whether Whitebeard would kill him even after hearing what he said. The hunt for oneself. Now, the bad fate has arisen, and the only way to improve your strength is to work hard. Character, Lin Yan. Talent, Outstanding Fruit, Dark Fruit LV15 Ability, Physical Skills LV35 Haki, Armed Haki LV20, Knowledge Haki LV15, Conqueror's Haki LV15. Obviously, these attribute points of one's own. It's not enough to compete with the people in the Whitebeard pirates. After searching and searching on the sea, Lin Yan once again found a desert island. He hid in it and practiced hard. In the blink of an eye. Half a month passed like this. I had practiced for half a month before, and now I have been practicing for half a month. It just so happened that the task had reached a bottleneck. Congratulations to host for completing the side mission, Evading Pursuit. Winning the B-level lottery. Congratulations to host for completing the side mission, Practicing Hard. Winning the C-level lottery. The B-level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting 1 year of training experience. The C-level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting half a year of training experience. Several rays of energy are emitted from the system, and these energies are integrated into his body. In just a moment, Lin Yan felt that he had accumulated a lot of practice experience. Strength is rising steadily. Character, Lin Yan. Talent, Outstanding Fruit, Dark Fruit LV21. Ability, Physical Skills LV37. Haki, Armed Haki LV24, Knowledge Haki LV21, Conqueror's Haki LV21. Lin Yan immediately brought up his system panel. Watch the numbers on the panel increase again. He couldn't help but smile. What do you lack most now? Nothing is better than the improvement of strength. And this time, whether it is a B-level reward or a C-level reward, almost all of them are related to training experience. Why is he unhappy? Ding, it is detected that the host side task has been completed and a new side task is being released. Heard this movement? Lin Yan returned to the system and took a look. Sure enough. In the taskbar, I saw a red exclamation point beating. Click in and take a look. A new mission has been posted. Main mission, establish a pirate group. Request, as a pirate, what can you do without a pirate group? Host is requested to have an exquisite ship as a navigation tool as soon as possible. The staff should be at least 5 people including host, and ensure that everyone has influence in the original work. Achieved level A. Reward, S-level lottery. Side mission, defeat peers. New dot. Request, there is only so much territory. If you don't take it, someone will. Please host defeat a pirate group and ask the other party to put a total reward of more than 20 million Baileys. Reward, B-level lottery. Side mission, recruit crew. New dot. Request, is it the style of a great captain to be a loner? Host, please recruit a crew member as soon as possible to integrate more new people into your team. Rewards, no limit. Judgment based on recruiting characters. The stronger the influence of the original work, the more generous the rewards will be. Side mission, practice hard. Request, please host to practice hard for a month. Reward, C-level lottery. Compared to before. This time, 3 new tasks have been refreshed. Except for the last part of cultivate hard, which is repeated. Almost everything else required Lin Yan to do it himself. Certainly. His eyes immediately fell on the 3rd task of recruiting sailors. Especially its final prompt reward, unlimited. After thinking for a moment, he understood it at a glance. In other words, as long as the other party's influence in the original work is stronger, the rewards you will receive will be very generous. If you recruit an ordinary person yourself, you may only get the lowest C-level reward. But what if I recruit a general level person? Maybe S-level rewards are possible. How could this not surprise Lin Yan? This reward. He looked very satisfied. But problems also arise. General, will you agree to your invitation? Don't say anything else. With my own strength, I am afraid that I would really encounter a strong man at the level of a general. There should be no scum left in the seconds, right? Should be removed. People are greedy after all. Lin Yan is no exception. He really started to think about how he could use the task of recruiting crew members to directly rush into the ranks of S-level rewards, and then make a lot of money. Looking around the world, there are only a few people at the general level. And at this time, the 2 Fujitora Green Bulls, who have not yet gone through the world conscription, joined the ranks of Marine. If you are eloquent enough, it is not impossible to attack them. But as soon as the thought came up, Lin Yan snuffed it out. Regardless of whether they agree or not, where should I go to find them? Lin Yan tilted his head, then shook his head helplessly. Seemingly. It seems that there is really no way. But then I thought about it. Lin Yan suddenly raised his head again, and murmured to himself, by the way, why do I always focus on strength to draw conclusions? Doesn't the system say that the stronger the influence, the richer the rewards? It doesn't necessarily have to be about strength, other places may also be important factors that affect the system rating. Yes. That must be it. Think of this. Lin Yan looked towards the East China Sea. Luffy. You haven't gone to sea yet. It's not like recruiting Luffy. Luffy's temperament is not meant to be used as a subordinate. But those people below Luffy. For example, Nami Robin or something, Lin Yan has been coveting for a long time. Do they have enough influence? Their abilities are also very outstanding, one is sailing and the other is tomb robbing. Lin Yan's eyes shot out a bright light, and his smile became more and more intense. Sorry. Luffy's eldest nephew. I will decide your chance. Chapter 10. Cocoa West Village. The headquarters of the Dragon Pirates. The castle was in a mess, and there were sores everywhere where one could see. Who are you? As one of the cotters of the dragon pirates, Marine offered a bounty of 9 million belly. Kruby looked at the man in front of him with his hands behind his back and shouted in horror. Today? Because they went out to plunder. Aaron and Hachi took away most of the dragon pirates. As one of the main cotters, Kruby stayed with some of his men to guard the base camp. Unexpectedly, today, uninvited guests are here. First, he had to deal with the remaining members of the dragon pirates. Even he was not his enemy. I didn't meet Aaron. What a bad luck. The person standing in front of Kruby was naturally Lin Yan. Ben unexpectedly killed the dragon pirates in one fell swoop. Unexpectedly, the other party was not in Coco West Village at all. Not bad, not bad. Because I went out to collect rent. Aaron escaped by luck. Certainly. Although I haven't encountered it. It's not like Kruby's head is incorrigible. Upon hearing the other party's question, Lin Yan glanced at him and said in a cold tone, "Go to the King of Hell and ask." Say it. The knife fell from the hand. Just listen to the blood spilling out like a fountain. As the second in command of the dragon pirates, Kruby's head fell and he rolled several times on the ground. The thick white liquid mixed with blood dyed the land red. Kruby died on a chair in the castle. 2 days later, when Aaron returned to the headquarters of the dragon pirates with a lot of jewelry. However, the scene before my eyes. But Aaron's eyes were filled with anger. On the chair in the castle, Kruby, who had long turned into a headless corpse, had died. Kruby's right and left, as well as other remaining defenders, all died on the spot. Kruby. This. What happened? Damn it, someone must have attacked our base camp while we were away. Who? Who did it? The cotters of the dragon pirates all climbed up instantly with their eyes filled with anger and restless auras. They are still like this, let alone Aaron. The muscles in his body were tense everywhere, veins popped out, his teeth were clenched, and his eyes were full of anger. Don't let me know who you are, same day. Throughout Coco West Village, all vigilance has been raised to a new level. Around the island, there are 3 layers of boats inside and 3 layers outside. The sudden movements of the dragon pirates also made the villagers nervous. The other side of the East China Sea. In an old tavern. People come and go in an endless stream, and noisy sounds come and go, and the sounds are heard. The water spilled from the colliding wine glasses shone on the ground. People of all colors toasted to celebrate, their faces were full of joy, and the inside of the tavern was even more joyful. At this time, in the aisle of the tavern, I saw an orange-haired girl walking lightly through the crowds of people coming and going. She was holding a plate in her hand, with several buckets of wine on it. The aroma of the wine was fragrant. Lingering in this huge tavern. The girl was wearing a white shirt and a clean skirt, with a slight smile on her face and light makeup. She walked gently with a scent of fragrance. This appearance was somewhat incompatible with the rough and arrogant men around her. The girl was obviously a newly hired employee here. She quickly came to a table and placed the wine glass on the table of the black-haired man in front of her. She smiled sweetly and said, "Guest, please use it slowly." The black-haired man glanced at the orange-haired girl indifferently and said with a smile, "Do you have any other charging methods in this pub?" The girl was stunned for a moment, tilted her head, and replied rather cutely, "Why did the guest say this?" Although she said this, she quickly hid a money bag and put it into the rather material gap on her chest. There is a cute expression on her face. If an ordinary person sees the girl like this, he will feel relaxed and happy. Pity. The black-haired man was not moved by all this. He continued, "Since there is no other way to charge, why should you withhold money from me?" Nami rolled his eyes. Although he was surprised, his face remained calm. "Guest, please stop asking me riddles. What do you want to say?" Lin Yan poured himself a glass of wine and said, "Shouldn't you know it very well?" What do I know? You really want me to say it?" Nami thought for a while, then changed the subject and said, "Guest, are you not satisfied with this drink? If you are not satisfied, I will give you another one now." With that said, Nami wanted to put away the drink in front of Lin Yan. Lin Yan raised his hand to stop her, a friendly reminder, "If you take my things, you will get into trouble." "Guest, you drank too much." Nami smiled in apology, and then quickly pulled away and left Lin Yan's table. After confirming that she was already some distance away from Lin Yan, Nami patted her chest and let out a long breath. To say that his method was discovered by that weird man. Nami would never believe it. Nothing else. She was confident in her ability to steal. And if you were an ordinary person and lost money accidentally, you would definitely yell, such as "Who stole my money?" and other nonsense. Moreover, if he was really sure that he had taken away his money bag, he would have taken action immediately to take it back from him instead of talking to him calmly like he did. Thinking of this, Nami also felt relieved a lot. It became an order again. "Oh. Mimi, 2 more bottles of wine will be given to table 2. From the kitchen, the boss's voice came over. "Coming." Nami waved his hand and ran towards the kitchen again. Out and about. Especially in this high-risk profession. How could there be no trumpet? Mimi is naturally a pseudonym of Nami. When heading to the kitchen, Nami had 2 more money bags in her hands. Glancing at the 2 big men who were still unaware of the seriousness of the problem, Nami raised the corner of her mouth, stuffed the bag back into the same place again, and slipped into the back kitchen without a trace. Seeing Nami's skillful technique, Lin Yan twitched the corner of his mouth. He was worthy of the name of a little thieving cat. He took a sip of wine, not to mention, no wonder the business of this pub was booming. Just this 10-mile fragrant drink will surely bring many repeat customers. With so many obvious targets, it's no wonder Nami came here to work as a temporary worker. But no matter how flawless Nami is at what she does, things will eventually come to light. There was restlessness in the crowd, and some people shouted sharply, "Where is my money bag?" But I saw the man frantically searching his body, but there was no trace of the money bag at all. As the first person shouted, a stone stirred up 1,000 waves. The other people immediately realized that there was a thief in the tavern. Thieves can be found anywhere. Especially in this era when you can't scan QR codes and use WeChat, almost everyone has a money bag when they go out. Because of this, money bags are more likely to be missed by thieves. Many people also started to check their money bags. It would be better not to check. After reading this, a large number of people's eyes went dark. "My money is gone." "Mine too." "What? You are all gone?" "Wait, my horse rider is also gone. There is a thief in this tavern." After seeing their money bags disappear, everyone present became angry and howled like a wolf after discovering that there were no chopsticks in the takeaway. An infinite anger spurted out from their eyes, their faces were ferocious, and they cursed in circles, wishing to cut the thief into pieces. At this time, I saw 2 strong men clanging and guarding the door of the tavern. One of the strong men said angrily, "If the mastermind behind it is not found out, no one can get out of this door. Perhaps it's because thieves are rampant these days, and this tavern is full of business. To be cautious, the only exit is in the direction of the tavern door." Lin Yan looked in the direction of Nami. The latter frowned, his face was pale, his eyes were wandering and flickering, and then he lowered his pretty face, biting his teeth, not knowing what he was thinking. Holding his head with one hand, Lin Yan smiled casually, "There's a good show to watch." Chapter 11. As these 2 big men guard the door, other people who have lost their money also rise up, and it is bound to find out the mastermind behind the scenes. They are divided into 2 teams. A team searched the tavern to prevent thieves from hiding their money. Another team searched the person at the scene, and no leaks were leaked, and no concessions were made. Think about it, the person who stole the money either hid the money in a secret compartment of the tavern or carried it with him. As long as you look for these 2 signs, you can always find out the culprit. When the owner of the tavern saw this scene, he was willing to cooperate fully in order to ensure business. That's all. A group of people swept through the tavern in great force. Just less than half an hour. Almost everyone at the scene has been checked out, and it will soon fall on Nami. Seeing this scene, Lin Yan couldn't help but sit up straight. He wanted to see how Nami avoided the disaster that was about to befall her next. But Lin Yan didn't even think of it. The next second, Nami taught herself a lesson. How about being a professional thief cat? Nami suddenly sat down on the ground, then started sobbing, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. She originally had a girlish style of painting, and her lowly style is very eye-catching. Before adding, he treated everyone in the tavern warmly and hospitably. As well as his previous status as a temporary worker, he must have come out to seek a living because of family difficulties. Her delicate pretty face was filled with tears. Who doesn't feel heartbroken after seeing this? And her sobbing voice just fell into the ears of the searching men. The big man stepped forward quickly and asked with a distressed look on his face, "Little sister, what's wrong?" Nami didn't speak, just sobbing. The further back you go, the louder the sobbing sounds become. Who can withstand this? The big man tried his best to use gentle words, and comforted him, "Little sister, don't cry, don't cry. If you have any difficulties, just tell us." Lin Yan nodded secretly, seriously, life is like a play, it all depends on acting skills. When the scene was almost over, Nami stopped crying, but even so, her body was twitching and shaking. While wiping her tears, she replied in a low voice, "My family is in trouble. I came here to make a living. My boss saw me as pitiful, so he gave me a daily allowance. I will be given as much money as I can entertain as many guests as I can today. I didn't expect that. Now something like this has happened. I can't make any money, how can I go back and explain to the people at home?" Listening to Nami's explanation, other people couldn't help but feel a little lost. If they do this, the boss will definitely not make much money today. The boss doesn't make much money, so he naturally can't give Nami a certain daily salary. This also makes them unbearable. How about, just forget it? Yes, this little sister is so pitiful, why don't we just let it go? We did have some impact on the boss's business. That's right. Who wouldn't throw some money when you go out? This small amount of money is nothing. Little sister, please stop crying, okay? Uncle will give you candy. Under Nami's acting skills, the sound of a wolf howling like a chopstick lost in a takeaway disappeared in the blink of an eye. Look at Nami's appearance, driven by machismo. The money I lost, I really didn't want it anymore. Really? Nami choked, rubbing her eyes. Of course it's true. Yes, uncles will not lie to you. Others continued to comfort him. Thank you so much. You are all good people. Nami quickly wiped away her tears and put a smile on her face again. I don't know why, but the moment I heard Nami calling out "good guy," everyone present felt that a candle was lit in their hearts, and their whole heart was illuminated with warmth, giving them an indescribable sense of comfort. Then, can I go? Nami asked. Let's go, little sister. We won't search you. The two big men shouted in unison, with onto smiles on their faces. Thank you so much. Nami thanked her and walked towards the door. However, just when Nami was about to step out the door, Lin Yan's fingertips lit up with a black flame, and the dark fruit activated silently. In the gap between Nami's chest, something suddenly rolled. Feeling the strangeness coming from her body, Nami's expression changed. Just listen to clang. A money bag passed through her clothes, passed over her waist, and fell out from under her skirt. You know, what's in the money bag? Although there were many baileys, most of them were just broken pieces of silver and gold coins, which fell to the ground. The crisp sound was like an orchid in an empty valley or a temple bell, resounding throughout the entire tavern in the blink of an eye. Seeing a bag of things falling out of Nami's skirt, everyone present looked at the money bag at Nami's feet. Some people are still a little confused, why does this money bag look familiar? Nami was shocked and quickly picked up the money bag on the ground and explained, Everyone, I just said that I am working as a temporary worker for the owner of this pub. The boss will pay me a salary. It is very reasonable. The people present heard this, perhaps because they had just experienced Nami's actress-level performance, and couldn't help but nodded. It seems, it should be, almost, quite reasonable. Lin Yan's fingertips slid again, and the dark fruit was released again. There was another clang sound, and the second money bag fell out from under the skirt. Why does this money bag look like? There is a pink bear pattern on the money bag, and the big man who just searched his body raised his eyebrows. Nami's eyes widened, why did he jump out again? She hurriedly picked up the money bag again, almost suppressing her trembling and explaining, as I just told everyone, the boss sees me as pitiful and gives me an extra salary. It's very reasonable. Once is fine, twice is a bit fishy. Lin Yan was not polite and just snapped his fingers. Wow! For some reason, Nami loosened her belt and all the money bags stuffed inside fell out from under her skirt like dumplings. This. No. Don't. Nami exclaimed for a moment, even though she tried her best to hug her body and try her best not to reveal her money bag, but it was obviously too late. Around Nami, People from all walks of life in the tavern gathered together with their lost money bags. At this moment, if you really can't see it, then these people have almost lived most of their lives in vain. It's you are the little thief. It turns out you stole our money. What a shame. You pretended to be like this and lied to us. It's a shame I trusted you so much just now. Fed by the FG Big B. I at number yen percent you number yen percent, I, the old grandson, just FK and yen percent. In an instant, the storm surged, and everyone directed their anger towards Nami. They lost their money bag and were almost deceived. How could they swallow this sigh of relief? Just when they were about to vent their anger on Nami. But look up. Nami had already wandered away without a trace. Only the two shuttered doors of the tavern were left shaking. Slowly. Chapter 12. He rushed all the way out in one breath. Nami has nothing but excellent escape skills. There is no way. If you are not strong enough, you have to be quick with your legs and feet. Otherwise, with the things you have done, who knows what will happen to you. Looking back, Nami let out a sigh of relief after confirming that no one was following. Reaching out to touch her waist, Nami's expression suddenly changed. While trying to escape, she lost the kettle. Nami was extremely upset. Without the kettle, how could he store fresh water supplies on this vast ocean? Just when Nami was in distress. Give. Suddenly, a hand stretched out from the tree overhead, holding a kettle in that hand. Thanks. Nami was already extremely thirsty, so she subconsciously caught it, but the moment she was about to open it, she was suddenly startled, and immediately looked up in the direction of the source of the kettle. But he saw a young man looking at him with a smile on the tree in front of him. The person coming was none other than Lin Yan. Who impressed Nami the most in the tavern? I am afraid that this guy was the only one who discovered his theft immediately. Is it you? Nami's desire to drink water stopped abruptly. She could not drink even if she opened the kettle, nor could she drink even if she didn't. What an honor! I didn't expect that the little thieving cat would actually remember me. Lin Yan's face was full of smiles. He looked at Nami in front of him in a condescending manner, and at the same time added, thanks to you, in the tavern, but it gave me a good show. Nami's pupils were shocked, and she thought it was just a coincidence that Lin Yan discovered her theft. Now when Lin Yan directly called out the code name of Marine's bounty for him, Nami finally realized that the man in front of him had probably already figured out his identity. Who are you? Nami frowned and took a step back, trying to distance herself, as if this could reassure herself. Lin Yan glanced at Nami, are you serious about taking half a step back? He continued, looking at how out of breath you are, drink some water first. Nami looked at the kettle. She didn't dare to drink the water inside. What if something is added to it? Don't be nervous, there is nothing evil in the kettle, don't worry. Lin Yan could see what Nami was thinking at a glance and explained. Unfortunately, Nami is not willing to pay the bill. To this, Lin Yan didn't force it either. Nami asked, are you from Marine? If anyone could target him now, it would be the person he stole from, or Marine. But when he was in the tavern just now, he stole Lin Yan's money bag, but the other party didn't pierce it. I expected that it would be the first time that I met the other person. Since he was not the one who had things stolen from him, the only explanation was that the other party was most likely from Marine. Marine. These two words have mixed feelings for Nami. My own adoptive mother once worked for Marine. What a pity. But it ended up like that in the end. This also resulted in Nami not being very friendly towards Marine. Looking at Lin Yan in front of her, Nami seemed to be in contact with the past while being alert, and the sadness in her eyes could not help but reveal itself. Lin Yan was surprised, how could he be related to Marine? I'm not Marine. Lin Yan shook his head in denial. Hearing this, Nami was surprised. He wasn't from Marine? Then why did you come to me? Suddenly, Nami looked at Lin Yan strangely and covered her body with her hands. You are not plotting against me, are you? Lin Yan jumped down from the tree and walked up to Nami. Under Nami's surprised gaze, you are quite narcissistic. However, Lin Yan didn't give in. After making a complaint, he went straight to the point and said, I want to invite you to join my pirate group. As soon as this statement came out, Nami frowned. Although not very friendly to Marine. After all, Nami has seen how corrupt Donghai Marine is. But how corrupt are they? After all, his adoptive mother is also one of the Marines. There are also quite a few Marines who have worked with their foster mothers. It left a good childhood impression on Nami. But when talking about pirates, Nami immediately thought of the dragon pirates. While doing business with Marine, he committed murder and arson in Cocoa West Village, doing all kinds of evil. Nami looked at the carving on his shoulder. The engraving is the mark that attracts the attention of the dragon pirates. Every time she thinks about it, she feels disgusted. Knowing Lin Yan's identity as a pirate, Nami's tone turned cold. It turns out that you are a pirate, so I have to disappoint you and ask me to join your pirate group? Don't even think about it. After saying that, Nami added, you pirates don't have any good stuff. Lin Yan had already expected this scene before coming here. Needless to say, Nami's attitude towards pirates. If you want to recruit him into your pirate group, you will naturally have to spend some effort. What a coincidence. In this regard, Lin Yan has a lot of confidence. He asked, really don't want to? Nami's eyes were firm, I don't want to die. Don't you want to hear about my offer to you? How can you be paid? With that said, Nami turned around and walked straight away. Lin Yan looked at Nami's back, he smiled, and then said calmly, I can help you kill the dragon pirates. The sound turned into a gust of wind and floated into Nami's ears. The moment I heard these words, Nami's heart that was about to leave suddenly stopped. The steps stopped in place. Under the sunlight, the shadow forms a sharp contrast with her. After a moment of silence, Nami resisted the throbbing in her heart and turned around. You, what did you say? I believe you can understand what I mean. There are some things I don't want to say a second time. Lin Yan came to the side and sat down on the big rock. His eyes were blazing, like the scorching sun in the sky, and he stared at Nami so fiercely that she dared not look directly at her. He said, Miss Nami, I'm waiting for you. Answer. Nami clenched her fists and her body was shaking. What Nami hopes to achieve most now is to drive those evil gangs and the entire dragon pirates out of Cocoa West Village. After seeing Nami's excellent sailing ability, the fishman Aaron also made an offer to Nami. One is to join his pirate group, and the other is to collect 100 million belly. To protect the villagers. In order to collect 100 million belly, Nami embarks on this road of no return. At such a young age, she has been running around the vast East China Sea day and night. This is also the reason why Nami was named a little thief cat by Marine, was put a reward by Marine for theft, and was exiled in the East China Sea. Everything she does, it's nothing more than trying to pass a verbal agreement that cannot withstand scrutiny. It is hoped that the fishman Aaron can be magnanimous. Use 100 million belly to spare yourself. Spare the villagers of Kokoyasi village. Chapter 13. Honestly. The moment Lin Yan said these words, Nami was extremely surprised at first. It never occurred to her. The man in front of me whom I met for the first time. I can actually understand the secret behind this. Nami was a little moved. If what this guy says is true, then I can help the villagers solve all their difficulties now. Get rid of the shackles of the dragon pirates. But then I thought about it. Nami was disappointed again. It was the first time that I met the man in front of me. Why should the other party help me? Moreover, Nami is getting closer and closer to 100 million belly. As long as you persist for a while to collect all the funds, in the end, it must be possible. You can let Aaron let go of himself and the folks in Kokoyasi village. You're thinking that you're already close to collecting 100 million belly, so why not continue on this path and give it a try, right? At this time, as if he saw Nami's thoughts, Lin Yan spoke. Nami's eyes tightened, and then she lowered her head. No answer, but no denial either. Stop dreaming. If I were Aaron, not only you, but also the 100 million belly in your hand, and the entire villagers of Kokoyasi village. Having said this, Lin Yan paused and made a fist with one hand. I want them all. No. Impossible, Aaron wouldn't do that. Nami tried her best to defend. You've already said that none of the pirates are good. In fact, you know their style better than anyone else, right? Lin Yan smiled, as if there was a demon hiding in his eyes, a vicious dog from hell that devoured a city alive, leaving no bones behind. The scene was so horrifying that it made people shudder. Nami's face turned pale, unable to prove herself. Naturally, Nami spent some time in the dragon pirates. What is their style of doing things? I know better. In the final analysis, Nami just wants to give herself some comfort and sustenance. But as Lin Yan told the naked truth, tear off her last disguise. Nami stopped talking, but her breathing became more and more rapid. Under Lin Yan's words, she seemed to have seen the predetermined ending, and her heart was entangled in every possible way, struggling in the mud. She asked, "Why should I trust you?" Wow! The moment Nami said these words. But I saw a round object being thrown over. The blood was mixed with white liquid, and the head rolled several times on the ground, covered with a lot of dust. Nami was shocked. Then she felt that the head looked familiar. Take a closer look. Then Nami's face was shocked. There was a roar in my heart. Waves all over the sky rippled in my heart. He shouted out loud, "Krobi, this." Her beautiful eyes widened and she looked at Lin Yan in disbelief. You killed him." As the second in command of the dragon pirates, colonized Kokoyasi village for many years. For such people, how could Nami not know him? You went to Koko West village." Her voice was trembling. "Is it hard to see?" Lin Yan nodded simply. Nami was shocked and speechless. Let's talk about the beginning. She still had concerns. After all, the man in front of him was not an exaggeration to describe as strange. But then she saw Krobi's head. Nami also suddenly realized. He has the ability to defeat the dragon pirates. After a brief moment of shock, Nami suppressed the throbbing. Trying to calm down. "Why are you doing this? As my crew, you should have a meeting gift. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Lin Yan. What do you think of this gift, Ms. Nami? Just want to invite me on board. Otherwise, my crew is in trouble. As a captain, I can't just turn a blind eye, right?" Nami no longer knows how to describe her current situation. Able to go to Koko West village alone and take off the head of the second in command of the dragon pirates. It was enough to prove Lin Yan's strength. Now, Nami is like a ray of dawn in the dark clouded sky. The warmth spread over her body made her world glow again. But very quickly, recalling the fishman Aaron's strength far beyond that of humans, Nami couldn't help but lowered his head. Such people. It is impossible for ordinary people to defeat it. He is the culprit who threatens Koko West village. He is the devil that has been surrounding Nami's heart. I appreciate your kindness, but the fishman Aaron, he is very strong. Yeah, I know. And the dragon pirates behind us, everyone in them is extraordinary. Well, I know that too. What's more important is that he has Marine's back. Even Marine can't do anything to them. Anything else you want to add?" Nami calmed down for a while, then she asked, "I would like to ask, how many helpers do you have now?" Lin Yan chuckled, "What kind of help do you need to deal with a mere pirate from the East China Sea?" In one word, one person is enough. Nami opened her mouth. I was speechless for a long time. Nami reminded, they own an entire pirate group. Lin Yan glanced at Nami and said calmly, "So what? And? So what?" Listening to Lin Yan's domineering words, Nami was so shocked that she fell to the ground. Lin Yan repeated again, "Miss Nami, I'm waiting for your answer." At this point, how could Nami not know her next choice? 4 words came out of his mouth. "I promise you. Now that you have agreed, at least you need to know what's going on the ship." Nami asked, "I would like to ask, how many people are there on our boat?" Lin Yan turned his head with a mysterious smile on his face, "You, and me." Nami originally wanted to wait for the next step. But Lin Yan didn't say his next name for a while. Moment. She seemed to understand something. "No. It's not just the 2 of us on the boat, is it? To be precise, I don't even have a boat." This. Chapter 14. Nami, are you telling the truth? In Nami's home in Kokoyashi village, a woman who was several years older than Nami raised her head in disbelief and looked in the direction of Lin Yan. "Sister, he is the only one who can help us." Nami answered in the affirmative. Nyochi frowned. She looked at Lin Yan with a doubtful look. Nami actually saw Krupp's head, and thus believed in Lin Yan's strength. But Nyaki is not taller. Moreover, regarding the naivety of this silly sister of mine, Nyaki Gao was a little more worried. Such is the situation in Kokoyasi village today. I can no longer stand what they are doing. What if the tiger is lured away and the wolf is driven away? The final consequences can only be borne by themselves. While the two women were discussing, Lin Yan was sitting in front of the wooden table drinking dry tea. Where it enters the eye. Eyes full of poverty. The Nyaki Gao family is already too poor to open the pot. As if aware of Nokijao's appearance, Lin Yan looked sideways. Miss Nokijao, it seems that you have some doubts about my ability. Yes. Lord Lin Yan, I have seen Aaron's strength. You are alone and outnumbered. I'm afraid you may not be a match for Aaron. So forgive me for not believing everything you say. Nokijao didn't hide anything and answered truthfully. You are quite straightforward. So, how do I need to prove it? Lin Yan narrowed his eyes and stared at Nyochi. The dragon pirates have indeed experienced changes recently, but we have no way of knowing what happened. However, Captain Marine, who is behind the dragon pirates, has also arrived at Kokonishi village. If you, Lord Lin Yan, are really powerful and can deal with this guy. Nokijao gave a list. You're talking about that Colonel Rat. Haha, Colonel Marine, it's really scary. Lin Yan originally sneered at proving his ability. But at this moment, a temporary task popped up in the system panel. Temporary mission, kill Colonel Rat. Requirement, as Marines, we do not do human affairs. A nest of snakes and rats work together. Although we are pirates, we are also obliged to pay off all injustices. Any evil will eventually be brought to justice. Reward, sea-level lottery. The moment I saw this temporary mission, Lin Yan's eyelids twitched. Not that killing Colonel Rat was that unusual. It's just that the introduction is a little weird. What does any evil will eventually be brought to justice mean? Good guy. A strong sense of justice came over me. In fact, Nokijao was not sure. She said in an anxious tone, Master Lin Yan. What do you think? It seems that I have no reason to refuse. I'm just a colonel, there's really no challenge at all. Lin Yan stood up. Whether it's Nokia Cow or Nami. The two girls just felt like their eyes were blurred. When I came back to my senses, I was surprised to find out Lin Yan had disappeared from the house. Bang! It doesn't take a moment. The door burst open. A bloody head was nailed to the wall. Nokijao and Nami were shocked. They both looked over. On the wall is the head of Colonel Mouse, one of the corrupt marines who has exploited their Coco West village for many years. Time goes back to 1 minute ago. On the streets of Kokoyasi village. The wind blew the fallen leaves, the grass and trees swayed, and in the breeze, the people around him knelt on both sides of the road. Everyone lowered their heads, not daring to look at the marine on the main road. Colonel Rat is arrogantly collecting people in Kokoyasi village. In the past. It's not Colonel Mouse's turn to do this kind of thing himself. What a pity. There have been changes in the dragon pirates recently. Want to make money? Then you can only take action yourself. With a team of people, there was no grass growing anywhere, and the sound of wailing was everywhere. The people on both sides were miserable. Their rickety bodies and bent waists did not dare to move at all. Who are you? At this moment, there was a loud shout, causing the people on both sides, as well as marine present, to look over. The end of the street. A man who looked very gentle. He stood there, with the sun shining his shadow on the ground. His temperament was extraordinary and otherworldly. Sniff sniff. After all, they are the elite of marine. No matter how bad the mouse is, he is still a colonel inside. He had a very keen nose, and after sniffing, he immediately sensed the danger of Lin Yan. From a long distance away, Colonel Mouse pointed at Lin Yan and said, "Who are you?" Lin Yan didn't answer. He stepped closer to Colonel Mouse. Colonel Mouse's eyes changed. The more silent you are, the more it means the person coming is not good. A handful of truth suddenly appeared in his hand. Bang bang bang, 3 shots were fired in succession. The bullet accurately hit Lin Yan's heart. Just when Colonel Mouse was overjoyed. The next second, he was stunned. But he saw a black flame igniting in Lin Yan's chest. The bullet passed through his body. This is Logia Devil Fruit. Quick, stop him. Colonel Mouse quickly greeted the people around him. Marines gathered around him. Pity. Useless. Less than a breath. A full 30 ordinary marine soldiers were all annihilated on the spot. This is the blink of an eye. Just killed more than 30 marines? Colonel Mouse's pupils tightened. And at this moment, Lin Yan had already arrived in front of him. Colonel Mouse tried to escape as quickly as possible. At the same time, the bullets in his hands poured out crazily, and the flames from the muzzle spurted out one after another. But almost all the bullets penetrated Lin Yan's body. Can't do any harm at all. In this East China Sea. In this place where even the domineering power is not perfect. Ethereal dog. Basically it is an invincible existence. Only for a moment. Colonel Mouse was strangled by Lin Yan's neck. Look at the other person's face turning red. The limbs were struggling wildly. Lin Yan really wanted to say something. Do you also want to dance? The moment he was mentioned, an idea suddenly flashed in Colonel Mouse's mind. On. Dying. His instincts were right. Lin Yan put a hand on his shoulder. Another hand grabbed his leg. Lift your left hand. Right hand sinks. Stab. Colonel Rat's body was torn to the limit. On the body surface of the skin, there were cracks. Then there was a harsh impact. The hot blood was thrown into the sky with a bang, rising 3 to 5 meters like a fountain. Colonel Mouse's body was separated on the spot. It was torn directly by hands. The frightened eyes widened. I will never die with my eyes in peace. This moment. The huge Kokoyasi village. Be it the surrounding villagers or the remaining marines. There are also the belated arrivals of Nakajao and Nami. There was a deathly silence. In the sight of everyone, Lin Yan was bathed in the hot blood. His face was full of scarlet. Raise your hand. He wiped the blood on his face a little. A gentle voice came faintly, I'm sorry, the scene is a bit bloody. Chapter 15. All but marine present. Some cotters of the dragon pirates, such as Jinchinch, Shioyaki and others, were also present. No matter how weak Colonel Mouse is, he still has the title of colonel after all. Just ask. If the strength is insufficient, how can one be qualified for this position? This is why. Even their captain Aaron. When you see Colonel Mouse, you have to be in awe. What's the result? A marine colonel. In Lin Yan's hands. It's not just that he doesn't have the strength to resist. He even tore it to pieces in front of everyone. Jinchinch and Yanshao looked at each other. From each other's eyes, they saw horror. What's going on? Why in this remote Kokoyasi village? Will you meet such a strong person? Looking at Lin Yan bathing in blood. There were already waves in the hearts of the two of them. Just when they were about to flee the scene. Suddenly. A sharp look. He looked towards the two of them. A shadow covered the two of them. Jinchinch and Yanshao looked up, and Lin Yan stood in front of them. You two, don't you stay for a glass of wine? The two of them were horrified. Eat wine? What kind of wine? Lin Yan, he said politely, of course I'll leave the fish heads for you two to drink with. Congratulations to host for completing the temporary mission, kill Colonel Rat. Get the sea level lottery. Sea level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting half a year of training experience. The sea level lottery has a high probability of being practice experience. No matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Lin Yan still needs to improve his strength as soon as possible. Another half year of practice experience gained. Lin Yan only felt that his strength had climbed a small level. Not bad. Return to the house again. How are you two? Lin Yan looked at Nakajao and Nami. Although I have already prepared. But after actually seeing this scene, Nami still made waves in her heart. Not to mention Niu Qigao. The moment Colonel Mouse was torn apart by his hands, the unhappiness she had buried in her heart for many years seemed to be vented instantly. In Lin Yan, she seemed to see the hope of liberating Coco West Village, and the doubts in her eyes seemed to disappear. Present. Niu Qigao said with a pleading voice, Master Lin Yan, please help us. Looking at the expectant eyes of the two girls, Lin Yan said lightly, look at what you said, am I not here just to help you? Master Lin Yan, what do you need us to do? We can take you there. Niu Qigao said excitedly. It's no longer necessary in the past. You don't need to go there? Why? Aaron, he's already here. The words just fell outside, a violent roar suddenly sounded. On the streets of Kokoyasi village, Aaron was burning with anger, his veins popped out, and his fierce eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. He stared straight at the ground, where the corpse of Colonel Rat had long been dismembered. At first, when I heard about the death of Colonel Mouse, Aaron couldn't even believe his ears. On strength, Colonel Mouse is not much worse than me. What's more, although it is in the East China Sea, but among the Marines, Colonel Mouse also has a very important voice. Even if it's me, I don't dare to provoke him. You even have to lower your posture, be too flattering, and grovel. What's the result? The servants come to report. Colonel Mouse dead. To say that Marine died on the sea is not a big deal at all. After all, there are almost countless similar examples. Pirates and Marine are in a hostile state again. You come and I go. A few casualties are normal. But Colonel Mouse can die anywhere, but he cannot die in Cocoa West Village, on his own territory. This pot. Aaron can't afford it. Especially since I want to continue to develop in Cocoa West Village. This is also the reason why Aaron rushed here as soon as he heard the news. He knows. If we don't find out the mastermind today, there is no way I can do it myself. Under the leadership of Aaron, the members of the Dragon Pirates drove all the people in Cocoa West Village to the center of the square. Aaron looked at everyone, his tone was low, his fists clenched, and he shouted angrily, "Who did it?" As his words came out, the subordinates of the Dragon Pirates drew out the swords on their waists one after another. The sword light was placed on the villagers' necks. It seemed as if the knife was about to be raised and dropped at the next moment. Send them to hell. Although the villagers of Kaido village saw Lin Yan, but that was no more than a fraction of a second. How can they know who the murderer is? The villagers could only hesitantly say that they saw a man, but they didn't clearly see who he was. It would be better not to say this. After saying that, Aaron became even more angry. In front of you, you told me that you didn't see it. Okay. Since you want to seek death, then I will make it happen for you. Kill them one by one until they ask questions. Aaron gave the order soon. The first villager was taken out. This is a mother and daughter. The mother is only in her mid-20s, and the daughter looks 6 or 7 years old. The mother tried hard to protect her daughter under her body. I don't want her to see the dangers of the world. But her desperate and frightened eyes did not reveal the trembling in her heart. Under the pressure of the Dragon Pirates, she could only keep shaking her head, indicating that she had no idea at all. Useless thing, die. Aaron's claws grew a foot long, and he raised his hand and penetrated his mother's neck, wanting to end the lives of the mother and daughter. However, at the moment Aaron's claw was about to hit the villager, suddenly, a strong wind blew towards his face. The strong wind carries black flames. Just hear a click. Aaron's claws broke instantly. The sudden change naturally made Aaron wary. Who? Immediately afterwards, a black shadow suddenly fell to the ground in the sky. A big hole was made in the ground, and cracks spread out to the surrounding area. The agitated dust even rolled up residual clouds, shrouding the surroundings and spreading out. In the smoke, a young man walked out with a sneer on his lips. His eyes were like lightning, and his aggressive eyes were hard to look into. He said, as expected of the Dragon Pirates, who are famous in the East China Sea, and their attacks are clean and neat. Aaron took a closer look. Suddenly, he discovered that the person coming was a human being. He frowned and said coldly, "Who are you?" Lin Yan had a bright smile on his face. "Aren't you just trying to find me by going to all this trouble?" Aaron's face was stern, and he understood the whole story at a glance. "Did you kill Colonel Rat?" Lin Yan nodded simply, "Yes." Aaron gritted his teeth, "You are so brave. Do you know who Colonel Mouse is?" "I don't know." "Why don't you explain it to me?" "BD, believe it or not, I will send you back to the west right now. If you want to avenge this scum, go ahead." Lin Yan pointed at Colonel Rat, who had been dismembered on the ground, and hooked his hand towards Aaron. "Since you, a human, insist on seeking death, I will give you a ride." Aaron gritted his teeth. "How many years? I have never heard anything similar." Aaron's eyes were already red. He looked at Lin Yan with an aggressive look. In just one breath, Aaron came to Lin Yan. The sharp claws flashed with cold light, and one claw slapped Lin Yan on the head. Chapter 16. For Aaron, except Marine, there are very few existences that he can take seriously. After all, In his worldview, possessing highly developed strength, the stronger fishman among the same generation, it has more innate advantages than humans. On strength, on ability, on power. They fishmen are even worse than humans. This is why the fishman Aaron was still able to attack Lin Yan even after he tore up the mouse kernel with his own hands. He said he was afraid of Colonel Mouse. But what Aaron is more afraid of is the revenge from Marine. So much so that it turned out to be a bitter pill that made it difficult for him to move forward in the East China Sea. That's why I swallowed my anger towards Colonel Mouse. Said without politeness. Colonel Rat died on his own turf. This undoubtedly touched Aaron's reverse scale. Anyway, this human being in front of me must die. How fast is Aaron? He ducked in front of Lin Yan. Lin Yan looked defenseless, as if he hadn't reacted yet. The sneer in Aaron's eyes grew stronger. Human beings. As expected, they are no match for the fishman. One claw down. The sharp claws directly penetrated Lin Yan's head. Success. Aaron was overjoyed. But in a blink of an eye. But his expression changed. In imagination, this image of a broken human head and blood mixed with white liquid was not sprayed out. This made Aaron subconsciously look up at Lin Yan. At this time. That's this one look. His pupils were constricted and his heart was shaking. When his claws penetrated Lin Yan's head. The flames are burning. This is. Are you a Logia devil fruit user? Aaron told Lin Yan's fruit ability. After releasing the secret fruit, Lin Yan clenched a fist with one hand, and with black flames, he punched Aaron firmly on the body. Bang! After a muffled sound. Aaron's body was like a kite with its string broken, flying behind him at extremely high speed. Hit the wall. He smashed a huge human-shaped hole into the wall. The bricks fell off and fell on Aaron's body. Lin Yan's punch. Aaron was almost beaten to death. A touch of bright red blood spurted out from his mouth. With just one move, Aaron could barely resist it. Under the ruins. Aaron looked at Lin Yan in disbelief. Not to mention how shocked he was at this time. A tiny human being. In terms of strength. How can you compare with yourself as a fishman? That's fine if it's in the New World. Where is this place? East China Sea. Do the math. Donghai is just a novice village. But the current situation told him the truth. He is far from being a match for the human in front of him. He finally knew why the man in front of him dared to attack Marine and Colonel Mouse. The first half of the Grand Line and the New World are two different worlds. The Four Seas and the first half of the Grand Line are two different worlds. Even without the ability to obtain fruits. In terms of pure strength, Aaron was definitely no match for Lin Yan. Not to mention that now he has the dark fruit and the many years of cultivation gained from the system. Crush a pirate with a bounty of 20 million. No problem at all. After getting up, Aaron still wanted to struggle. But how could Lin Yan give him such an opportunity? The fruits are taken in and spit out secretly. Aaron lost his fighting ability on the spot. With Aaron's downfall, the dragon pirates no longer have any resistance. After, Lin Yan directly destroyed their base camp. Congratulations to host for completing the side mission, defeating his peers. Request, there is only so much territory. If you don't take it, someone will. Please host defeat a pirate group and ask the other party to put a total reward of more than 20 million Baileys. Winning the B-level lottery. The B-level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting 1 year of training experience. Lin Yan closed his eyes and felt the increase in strength. Just a short trip to Windmill Village. He has accumulated 1.5 years of cultivation experience. Lin Yan nodded. Other side. After destroying the dragon pirates. Nami, practice makes perfect. The dragon pirates' warehouse was opened by her skillful hands. Lin Yan looked towards the warehouse. Golden light suddenly shot into the eyes, and the warehouse was filled with gold jewelry. This damn Aaron. Nami clenched her fists tightly, her face full of anger. How much wealth did Aaron have to plunder to accumulate the wealth? Lin Yan did the math and found that the value of the money on site was approximately over 600 million belly. More than 600 million Baileys is not a small amount. Since we want to form a pirate group, I believe there will be plenty of money to spend in the future. Not to mention far away. Just build a pirate ship. Want a nice boat? If you don't have money, who will help you? A big wave of his hand. It's like a magic trick. The 500 million baileys on the ground were emptied out in the blink of an eye, and were all stuffed into Lin Yan's system warehouse. As for the remaining 100 million, Lin Yan gave it directly to Nami. Oh? Give it to me. Although Nami loves money, that was only in the past. In order to collect 100 million belly, he would do anything. There is a saying that goes well, before you achieve financial freedom, there is no harm in searching a little. But now, the dragon pirates were eliminated. The original bet with Eren has also come to an end. In Nami's opinion, she no longer needs money to support her. Moreover, their Kokoyasi village could no longer give Lin Yan any benefits, and they were already indebted to him. Now Lin Yan still has to pay out of his own pocket. Give 1/6 of the captured loot to yourself. How could Nami feel so happy? She shook her head repeatedly and said, no, let's forget it. We don't know how to thank you anymore. You deserve it. You don't want it, but what about you villagers? Lin Yan pointed in the direction of Kaikiasi village. Nyokijeo's family was completely destitute, let alone the other villagers. Nami is speechless and doesn't know how to answer. I don't want to do these troublesome things. It's none of my business what you do with it. I'll wait for you at the port and make 2 French fries. After leaving these words, Lin Yan turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. After looking at the 100 million belly at his feet, Nami looked at the direction Lin Yan was leaving. Now, her heart is also warm. 2 hours later, Nami distributed 100 million belly and the dragon pirates' food evenly to the villagers of Kokoyashi village. After getting the grain and barley, all the villagers were in tears and their faces were full of gratitude. They all know it. If it weren't for Lin Yan, if it weren't for him, I'm afraid they would still be living under the oppression of the dragon pirates to this day. Everyone thanked Nami again and again. Many people kept asking where Lin Yan had gone. They wanted to say thank you in person. Nami knew that Lin Yan didn't want to cause trouble, so she lied apologetically, he comes and goes without a trace, and I don't know where he is. Nakajeo came to Nami's side unknowingly. Glancing at the grain and barley, her face was full of joy. Fortunately, he is here, otherwise what will happen to Kokoyasi village next? I don't even dare to think about it. Yes. Nami nodded. Nami, let me help you. Nakajeo helped Nami, and while distributing supplies, he asked, Nami, what kind of person do you think he is? Nami was stunned for a moment. Thinking back on our interactions these days. First encounter. Returning to Koko West village for the first time. Taking him to meet his sister for the first time. Touching his chin. I thought about it for a while. It took a long time to give the answer, he's a good guy. Peer. Sneeze. Lin Yan rubbed his nose. Who is talking bad about me behind my back? Chapter 17. Although Eren in Koko West village was solved, but new problems arise. Eren. How to deal with it? Nami and Nogi didn't know what to do either. The two women turned their attention to Lin Yan. Lin Yan's idea was simple. Although 500 million baileys were obtained from the dragon pirates, who would think that money is too much? Moreover, Eren's reward. Looking at the entire East China Sea, it's not too low. Isn't 20 million baileys money? No matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. The truth is that a little adds up to a lot. Of course Lin Yan knew it. Under the expectant gazes of the two women, Lin Yan gave a forward answer, throw it to Marine. Nakajeo and Nami looked at each other. Leave it to Marine? Although Eren had an affair with Marine. But in the final analysis, that's just a secret deal with Colonel Mouse. Marine couldn't be any better. There are still many honest people inside. What's more, if not thrown to Marine, Eren will make a comeback one day. Lin Yan was gone. What should the people in Kokoyasi village do? Present. It seems that this is the most suitable place to deal with Eren. A few days later, when Marine's warship sailed into the port of Kokoyasi village. After seeing the people on the warship from afar, Lin Yan had a playful smile on his face. Haha, an old acquaintance is here. Master Lin Yan, do you know him? Nami asked curiously. I know you. Lin Yan replied. On the corridor of the warship, a man and a woman walked down. The man had a cigarette in his mouth, and the smoke was curling up. He looked around. He had white hair and a few wrinkles on his face. He looked to be in his 30s. He was wearing the uniform of Colonel Marine, and the badges on his chest were particularly dazzling. Taking a goose step, sonorous and powerful, stepping on the deck stairs, his voice can be heard in the stairs. The person who came was none other than Smoker, one of the current Marine colonels, yes, the same position as the Mouse colonels. But the difference is that Smoker hates these moths in Marine the most, and basically has no good feelings towards Colonel Mouse, a guy who eats everything inside and outside. Now he is stationed in Roger Town, the town where One Piece Roger started and ended. On strength. Not to mention the huge East China Sea. Even among Marines, Smoker ranks high. Next to Smoker is a woman wearing Corporal Marine's clothing. The clothing is not too tight, but it also outlines her figure in an orderly manner. There is a sword hanging on his waist, a pair of glasses on his face, and his long black hair is like a waterfall, and he looks a little natural. She is Smoker's assistant and the second in command of the Marine branch in Rogue Town, Dashki. Lin Yan held the unconscious Aaron in his hands and looked at the two people walking down the corridor. Talk about it. When I was in the Whitebeard Pirates. Lin Yan has already fought against Smoker. Lin Yan was not that strong at that time, and Smoker was also just a Marine recruit. The two of them can be said to be evenly matched. Never thought about it. Years passed. He obtained the dark fruit and left the Whitebeard Pirates. Smoker also thrived in Marine and has become a Marine colonel guarding one side. Colonel Smoker, is that guy Lin Yan? On the side, Dashki pushed up his glasses and looked at Lin Yan nervously. It is different from the world where news is closed. Regarding Lin Yan's killing of Team 4 Captain Sachi and taking away the dark fruit, this matter caused too much trouble in the new world. Marine is also good. Even pirates. Who doesn't know what this guy has done? At the same time, the news was also delivered to Donghai Marine with lightning speed, and was captured by Smoker. At first, for such news, Smoker scoffed. Although it was due to position reasons in the early years, he and Lin Yan were in a state of opposition. But as the saying goes, no fight, no acquaintance. Smoker was lucky enough to have several contacts with Lin Yan. Not to mention they feel sympathy for each other, but they also share the same goals. It's a pity because of identity reasons. The two of them can't have fun over wine. But as the news spread, it spread wider and wider. Even the Whitebeard Pirates issued a kill order for Lin Yan, and even issued a reward order to the outside world. Gradually. Only then did Smoker realize the seriousness of the problem. I found out after asking around. Lin Yan really betrayed the Whitebeard Pirates. And he was hunted down by the Whitebeard Pirates everywhere in the New World. This. Smoker looked at the newspaper in front of him. Not to mention how unbelievable it is. Regardless of Sachi's influence in the New World, he is the captain of the 4th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates and a well-known figure in the New World. Just like Baybeard's attitude of loving his subordinates like his own son. He would never let Lin Yan go so easily. Not to mention far away. Ace, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Already embarked on the journey. Searching for Lin Yan all over the world. That's why. Smoker used to pay attention to New World newspapers for a while. I want to see where Lin Yan is. But there has been no news. Never expected it. Today. In the East China Sea. In this Cocoa West village. I met this guy who turned New World upside down. Not only are you capable of causing trouble, but you are also not very capable of hiding, and you even ended up in the East China Sea. Smoker walked up to Lin Yan, looked him up and down, and said in a cold voice. I can't help it, something like this happened. Lin Yan replied with a smile. Why did it suddenly show up again this time? Smoker asked. I have no money. Lin Yan shook the unconscious Aaron in his hand, and continued, catch a pirate to make some money, and I'll give you a boost of performance by the way. So, you still want me to thank you? That's not necessary. If possible, I don't mind going through the back door. If you give me a little more bounty, I won't be able to accept it. Humph, don't think that just by saying nice things, I can help you. You are now a pirate. If I could, do you believe that I could capture you now and redeem the 1.5 billion belly? Lin Yan now. The Whitebeard Pirates offer a reward of 1 billion. Although Whitebeard wanted to meet Lin Yan. But I can't stand the people below who are so disgusted. And Blackbeard's secret fire. The crew members of the White Group were very angry. Not only has the reward of 1 billion Baileys not decreased, it has even continued to increase as time goes by. Because after Whitebeard issued the bounty order, Marine followed suit and placed a bounty of 500 million vellay on him. In other words, if someone could split Lin Yan in two, you can receive a reward of 1.5 billion. Of course, this is just a hypothesis. 1.5 billion. Nami and Nakajayo had been standing aside for a long time. By observing the two chatting, the two of them could roughly guess that Colonel Marine knew Lin Yan. You can follow Smoker to throw Lin Yan's bounty. Nami and Nakajayo's mouths suddenly opened into an O shape. This. Aaron, who has a bounty of 20 million vellay, is already the ceiling of their imagination. They really can't imagine what kind of strong people those who offer a reward of more than 100 million are. Didn't expect that. Lin Yan's reward. Not only has it exceeded 100 million. It's even as high as 1.5 billion. Oh my gosh! How many errands is this worth? The sun shone on Lin Yan's face, shining brightly under the scorching sun. Under Smoker's heavy gaze, Lin Yan slowly raised his head and said softly, "You can try it." Chapter 18. Temporary Mission, Defeat Smoker. Reward, B-level lottery. Lin Yan smiled. I never expected Smoker to be able to complete the mission. Now that we are here, he definitely won't miss it. Other side. After Smoker heard what Lin Yan said, a flash of fighting spirit flashed in his eyes. To be honest, in this East China Sea, Smoker hasn't played against anyone for a long time. Certainly, it's not that Smoker is reclusive, but an ordinary pirate. Basically, it's not his turn to come forward. It hasn't moved for a long time. Smoker also felt that his body was a little rusty. And Lin Yan, it is a good choice for mobilizing the tibia. Are you sure? I will not show mercy. If you are caught by me later, I will give you a pair of silver handcuffs. It's better not to say something too full. Yet. The words fell. Smoker's body puffed out a burst of smoke. With the blessing of the smoke, he turned into a gust of wind and rushed towards Lin Yan at an extremely fast speed. So fast. Dashki didn't expect that the two people had a disagreement and drew swords at each other. She is also a strong player in swordsmanship. Dashki can certainly tell. Smoker showed his full strength when he met. This is a situation that ordinary pirates cannot understand at all. Facing Lin Yan, he wasn't careless at all. Boom. Less than a breath. Smoker punched Lin Yan in the face. Lin Yan ducked. Smoker's fist missed him. Come again. In the sky, Smoker twisted his body and struck with a sweeping leg. Lin Yan avoided it again. He grasped the distance between the two people perfectly. In the blink of an eye, the two of them walked for more than 20 rounds. Period. Smoker took the initiative and kept attacking. The smoke turned into fists. Flashed around him. But Lin Yan has been dodging. From beginning to end, Smoker never touched the corner of his clothes. After more than 20 rounds of punches hitting the air, Smoker angrily said, "Can you only hide?" "It's not that I can only hide." Lin Yan shook his head and continued, "Haven't you noticed it yet?" After he mentioned it, Smoker's face suddenly hardened. He naturally understood what Lin Yan meant. In terms of speed, I have been thrown away too much by the other party. You are too trusting. Smoker angrily yelled, "Show all your strength." Back then, I was still able to fight Lin Yan back and forth, and even had the upper hand several times. What's the result? Now, he is being suppressed by the other party. This made Smoker a little nervous. Moreover, deal with yourself. Lin Yan is still so arrogant. This guy is still so hateful. Okay, since you said so, then you should be optimistic. Lin Yan had a calm smile on his face. On his arm, black flames appeared silently. Seeing Lin Yan preparing to take action, Smoker immediately tensed up his face. Staring at Lin Yan's body. Be prepared for the other party's attacks at any time. It's too late, it's fast. Smoker felt as if his eyes were in a trance. Lin Yan had disappeared from his sight. Disappeared? Smoker was so shocked that he just disappeared under his nose. This guy, how fast is he? Look around. Smoker desperately searched for Lin Yan. Up there. Smoker looked up at the sky. Sure enough, Lin Yan was directly above him. Now, he had already turned into a shooting star. It rushed towards Smoker at the most violent speed, watching the other person's body expand rapidly in his eyes. Smoker wants to be defensive, but Lin Yan was faster than him. Smoker realized it was too late to defend himself. Logia's devil fruit was at its greatest effect at this moment. Smoker elementalized his body, trying to use elementalization ability to offset Lin Yan's attack. But will Lin Yan give him this chance? The next second, on Lin Yan's palm, a layer of dark-armed domineering energy emerged. Bang! Just heard a roar. Lin Yan hit Smoker's elemental incarnation hard with a heavy blow. Pfft! Smoker couldn't defend himself, and he almost lost consciousness after one punch. A trace of blood spurted out of his mouth, and his eyes almost turned white. The whole person hit the ground, and a 5-meter large pit was created by him. Colonel Smoker. Dashki opened her mouth wide, and the shock on her face could no longer be contained. She looked at Lin Yan and couldn't come back to her senses for a long time. Except for Dashki. The other marines behind him also had horrified expressions on their faces. Needless to say, Smoker's prestige in Rogue Town goes without saying. In the entire Rogue Town Marine Division, almost all Marine soldiers look up to Smoker. Why are you so convinced? Naturally, it is closely related to Smoker's strength. He is strong enough, polite and virtuous, honest and brave, and dares to challenge hegemony. Who joins Marine without passion and ambition at the beginning? Just the vast majority of people. They were all buried in this dirty officialdom. The appearance of Smoker, like a new star in the dark clouds. With such a person who is not afraid of power taking the lead. This also gives them direction and motivation to move forward. This is also the reason why they admire Smoker. To be honest, before hearing that Lin Yan wanted to talk to Professor Smoker, many people scoffed. Said without politeness. Almost no one at Marine present was optimistic about Lin Yan. The name Lin Yan. If you don't deliberately pay attention to the major events in New World, none of them listened. Even if you have heard about it, read similar news, and seen similar newspapers, I'm afraid that it will all be forgotten within a moment or three. After all, reading newspapers is just fun for them. How is he a match for Smoker? Now, no one expected it. Their leader, their beliefs, the object of their admiration, the goal they aspire to. Colonel Smoker was defeated. And he was defeated so completely. It would be fine to say that the two were indistinguishable and evenly matched. The point is, anyone can see it. From beginning to end. This pirate mostly just dodges. Really take action. That's the last punch. One punch. Just one punch. Then he beat Smoker to the ground. How can they not be shocked? How could they not be shocked? Everyone present took a deep breath. Just the words impossible were plastered on his face. Chapter 19. If we talk about the beginning. Smoker was still in high spirits. Old friends reunited. Of course you have to use your fists to entertain. But it's better not to fight. After the fight, Smoker's whole life is filled with doubts. One punch. I was killed by this guy with one punch. Look at the wounds on the body. Even he was turned pale by it. But Smoker couldn't care less. He was as shocked as Marine at the scene was. What's more, Lin Yan was still standing next to him, looking like he was watching a good show. Smoker was so angry that he wanted to punch him twice. But in the end, he still held back. It seems that your choice is right. After a long time, Smoker climbed up from the pit, almost limping to Lin Yan and said, "What are you talking about?" Lin Yan was confused. "I'm referring to your devil fruit. You made the right choice. If its increase is really so great, it's no wonder you betrayed the Whitebeard pirates." Smoker said bluntly. Betray the Whitebeard pirates. After hearing these words, Lin Yan closed his eyes, and the look of watching the show disappeared from his face. Instead, he became more solemn. He shook his head and said with a smile, "Actually, I don't want to do this, just to become stronger, I have no choice. There is no dark fruit. I can't start the system myself. Only." This price made Lin Yan feel a little unacceptable. "I never expected that Sachi would die because of this incident. Teach. Just wait. Sooner or later, he must fight back." Smoker looked at Lin Yan seriously. After a while, he expressed the doubt that had been trapped in his heart for a long time. Seiki, did you kill him? What you think? I don't believe it, you are not that kind of person. Smoker's decisive tone made Lin Yan startled. Never thought about it. As an outsider, Smoker actually has such extraordinary trust in himself. Lin Yan said with emotion, just because I said this to you, I will let you go today. Smoker's face also turned cold, and he said firmly, don't worry, for this punch today, I will definitely return it to you in the future. After delivering errand to Smoker, Smoker also offered a bounty of 20 million belly. After all Marines returned to the warship, Smoker led the people and drove towards Rog Town. Congratulations to host for completing the temporary mission, defeating Smoker. Winning the B-level lottery. The B-level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting a light ship. Light ship, it has automatic forward thrust and can carry up to 10 people. Hey! Lin Yan quickly looked at his system. Isn't this a cultivation experience? Light ship? To know. Lin Yan's team now consists of only himself and Nami. Said it was a pirate group. Actually, Lin Yan didn't even have a boat. Returned to the four seas from New World. Lin Yan rode tourist boats all the way here. The advent of light ships. It solved Lin Yan's urgent need. At least, he also has a navigation vehicle. And more importantly, this light ship still has automatic forward thrust. What's the meaning? A perpetual motion machine that doesn't require any fuel, right? That is, in this pirate world. Make it modern instead. Maybe I can slice it for you. Of course. This is for Lin Yan. Naturally, this is good news. With tools, it can also navigate automatically. Saved a lot of effort. Why not? Problem solved in Cocoa West Village. Lin Yan set sail again. But it's different from before. Except for the light ship beneath my feet. Nami is also on her own ship. She has wanted to be a world-famous navigator since she was a child. It's a pity because of the dragon pirates. Suffering oppression, she had to fight for the people of Cocoa West Village. Now with Lin Yan's intervention. After getting relief, she also returned to her old career. Start drawing nautical charts. At the same time, after Nami got on the boat, system rewards follow. Congratulations to host for the side mission, recruiting a crew. Request, is it the style of a great captain to be a loner? Host, please recruit a crew member as soon as possible to integrate more new people into your team. Rewards, no limit judgment based on recruiting characters, the stronger the influence of the original work, the more generous the rewards will be. Determining rewards, recruiting characters, Nami, identity, S-class. Congratulations to host, you won the S-level lottery. Lin Yan's eyes lit up. It was indeed what he thought. S-level reward. This is the treatment only available for main mission, establishing a pirate group. Now, this reward. Let Lin Yan get it on Nami. Dear host, do you want to draw an S-level reward? The system asked. Extract. Lin Yan answered without hesitation. The S-level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting 5 years of training experience, all attributes increased by 5 levels, any door. 3 rewards? The moment I saw the S-level reward released by the system, Lin Yan froze on the spot for a long time. In the past, there have always been C-level draws and B-level draws, and each draw was only for a single item, and it was most likely based on training experience. There are 3 S-level rewards. Whether it is 5 years of training experience, or all attributes have been upgraded by 5 levels. This is for Lin Yan. Everything is a qualitative leap. What's more, there is also an arbitrary door. Any door, after opening it, it can help the host travel to various parts of the world. Prerequisite, the target area needs to be explored. Although you need to explore the area before using any door. But it was still very useful to Lin Yan. Just think about it. If you encounter someone you can't beat in the future. In other words, you encounter an opponent who is too powerful before your strength improves. If you need to run away. Here comes the role of any door. Return to Cocoa West Village in an instant. The opponent could only stare. This is simply a magical skill. Character, Lin Yan talent, outstanding fruit, dark fruit LV50 ability, physical skills LV57 haki, armed haki LV52, knowledge haki LV50, conqueror's haki LV50 item, any door. After all, it's still an S-level reward. Lin Yan sighed. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yan and Nami have been sailing at sea for a month. During this period, Lin Yan also practiced hard. Even if the strength improves quickly enough. But he still couldn't shake his determination to become stronger. Be prepared for danger in times of peace. Always keep moving forward. Congratulations to host for completing the side mission, practicing hard. Request, please host to practice hard for a month. Reward, sea-level lottery. The sea-level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting half a year of training experience. With the influx of half a year's cultivation experience. Now, all side tasks released by the system except the main task. He has already completed them all. Chapter 20. Look at your system panel. Lin Yan counted the cultivation experience he had gained in detail. I have been completing tasks like crazy lately. Lin Yan's cultivation experience has been accumulated for 10 years. On board the Whitebeard pirates. He has also seen Ace and his friends spend 3 days fishing and 2 days drying nets. But what's the result? Even so, Ace and the others are still growing in strength day by day. Regardless of the current bounty of 500 million, Ace is the captain of the 2nd division of the Whitebeard pirates. How old is he now? 20 hasn't even arrived yet. It's not just Ace. And Luffy and the others. Sabayati Islands practice for 2 years. Wano country suffered 3 blows from Kaido. Then somehow I can compete with the 4 emperors. Is 4 emperors really that easy to fight? If the 4 emperors were really so easy to fight, would Marine still be so aggressive in the middle of a war? Just think about it. Let them gain 10 years of cultivation experience. God knows how powerful it will be. Maybe even Kaido will have to surrender. Reflect on yourself. Even if you get the system, you have to work hard to this extent. My abilities in various aspects have only accumulated to about LV50. Look at this result. Lin Yan still couldn't help but sigh. Talent is this thing. It is really reflected vividly here. It's so irritating that people are so different from each other. There's no comparison. There's really no comparison. Of course. Lin Yan was just sighing. To know. From his acquisition of the dark fruit, his subsequent betrayal of the Whitebeard pirates, and his recruitment of Nami to the present day. How long has it been since? It only takes 2 months. In 2 months, his strength has skyrocketed to this level. Hey? Lin Yan suddenly came back to his senses. It seems that I am not qualified to criticize them. After completing the side mission, new tasks are released again. Main mission, establish a pirate group. Request, as a pirate, what can you do without a pirate group? Host is requested to have an exquisite ship as a navigation tool as soon as possible. The staff should be at least 5 people including host, and ensure that everyone has influence in the original work. Achieved level A. Reward, S-level lottery. Side mission, big event new request, as a pirate, you must naturally have a well-known influence. Please ask host to complete a major event that shocks the world, and make host's reward for this major event exceed 1 billion. The reward for the Whitebeard pirates is not included. The current marine bounty is 500 million. Reward, no limit judgment based on the events done by the host. The stronger the influence, the higher the judgment level. Side mission, practice hard. New request, please host to practice hard for a month. Reward, sea-level lottery. This time, there are only 2 tasks issued by the system. Said it was 2. Actually it is 1. In addition to the main mission that has never been completed, there is also the last step of practicing hard on the Tiger Bomb. Lin Yan's gaze. It fell on this task of a big event. Sensational in the world? Famous far and wide? There are unlimited rewards. Ever since I experienced it with Nami. Lin Yan also realized how generous the S-level rewards were. Since there are unlimited rewards, whatever I say must be up to the S-level. Looking at the task panel, Lin Yan touched his chin. This judgment is somewhat cold and ambiguous. To know. Needless to say, Nami's influence in the original work. Lin Yan also found a loophole in this mission. An S-level reward obtained through opportunism. But this wants to achieve a well-known influence. You have to do it yourself with real swords and guns. Not to mention far away. Even if it makes a big fuss in Donghai and attacks the headquarters of Donghai Marine. I'm afraid it may not be able to achieve the effect of S-level. And more importantly, he also needs his own bounty to reach 1 billion, not counting the Whitebeard pirate's bounty. This. Lin Yan suddenly felt that one person was as big as two people. The difficulty level of this mission is a bit outrageous. What's wrong with you? After getting along with Lin Yan for a month, Nami was still a little restrained at first. After all, for her, Lin Yan's kindness could never be repaid in her lifetime. But as time went by, Nami also discovered Lin Yan's family. Especially since Lin Yan repeatedly stressed that he should be more relaxed and there was no need to be like this. Gradually, Nami also regained her original lively temperament. Now seeing Lin Yan frowning, she stepped forward with curiosity and asked. I'm thinking. Lin Yan replied. Can you tell me? Maybe I can help you with something. Nami made suggestions. You want to know? Of course. Seeing Nami's eager look, Lin Yan thought about it for a while and said, I'm thinking about how to make my reward become 1 billion. As soon as this statement came out, Nami, who had been interested just now, suddenly held back. It was as if I had just walked out of the door and was sprayed by a sprinkler. The good mood of the day was instantly wiped out. No. My captain. What are you thinking about all day long? A billion reward. Do you know what this means? Aaron is so bad that he only has a reward of 20 million Baileys. Listen to Lin Yan's words. Nami was as outrageous as if she heard Li Ronghao endorsing Kazi Lauder. It's not that she is ignorant. But the environment in the East China Sea is like this. In such a vast sea area, not even a single person with a reward of 100 million can be found. Nami couldn't imagine how powerful a person with a billion belly bounty could be. But everyone gathered firewood and the flames were high. It doesn't take a moment. Nami actually came up with an idea. I have an idea. Tell me and listen. Lin Yan didn't expect that Nami really had a way. Recently. To draw nautical maps. Nami flipped through a lot of books. During this period. In addition to Nami's wealth of knowledge, she also became very knowledgeable. What's more important is to understand the current world situation, and the group of world nobles who have been on top of the world all year round, standing at Mary Joa. Nami said seriously, Captain, have you ever heard of the celestial dragons? Chapter 21. It's okay if Nami doesn't say anything. After bringing up the celestial dragons, Lin Yan reacted immediately. At first glance, this task seems quite difficult. But when the option of Tianlong people is added, everything became easy to solve. What is the identity of the Tianlong people? The descendants of the 20 kings who established the world government more than 800 years ago have always regarded themselves as creators, and their privileges have been passed down from generation to generation. Once you see them as a target, not to mention being offered a reward of 1 billion by Marine, even 2 billion or 3 billion is not impossible. Certainly. The only thing worth being afraid of is the Tianlong people's cake was moved. It will definitely lead to an encirclement and suppression by General Marine. It goes without saying how powerful General Marine is. For ordinary pirates, you can basically declare GG when you encounter them. It can be said that he can now compete with General Marine. Lin Yan naturally couldn't do it. Don't forget it. I just got any door. Facing General Marine. At least. You have the capital to escape. So many years of hard training. Lin Yan also suppressed a lot of bitterness in his heart. It's time to find someone unlucky to vent your anger on. Isn't life just about running around for fame and fortune? What's more, S-level rewards cannot be ignored. The arrow is already on the string and has to be fired. Half a month later. Sabayati Islands. Is it right here? Lin Yan looked at the sea in front of him, looked at Nami and asked. As a famous navigator in the pirate world, Nami's current abilities are not as good as when she reaches the new world in the future. But also with great talent. She has mastered the waters of the Grand Line with ease. Captain, I have already found out clearly that the Tianlong man will go to the Sabayati Islands from this route. Nami nodded and answered in the affirmative. But after saying that, Nami was still hesitant. I proposed this idea to Lin Yan before. She was just talking. At that time, the celestial dragons were just a world noble in the concept of existence to her. Nami has not yet realized how dangerous the celestial dragons are. Recently, understand the status of the celestial dragons in Marie Joya, especially since any encounter would lead to an encirclement and suppression by General Marine. Nami was also shocked. A mouse colonel can subdue Iran Z. Not to mention the 3 generals from Marine headquarters. These are the top people in Marine. Countless people are rushing towards the goal that they want to pursue throughout their lives. Even among the huge Marines, there are only 3 of them. Never expected it. Lin Yan did as he said. Turn the ship around, cross the windless zone from the East China Sea, and arrive at the Sabayati Islands. This efficiency. Nami couldn't help but be stunned when she saw it. This captain of my own. He really wants to take action against the Tianlong people. Nami said anxiously, Captain, do you really want to attack the Tianlong people? Just in case. Lin Yan glanced at Nami, we have reached this point, do you think there is still room for maneuver? Nami shook his head and continued, actually, I am worried about your safety. You have been put on a bounty by the whitebeard pirates. If you provoke Marine, I'm afraid. Speaking of which, Nami was a little worried. Both black and white are offended. It was such a big event that happened right away. If you don't sing, you will be a blockbuster. Nami feels crazy just thinking about it. After living a mediocre life for so long, it's time to add a rich color to my life. Lin Yan naturally understood what Nami meant. When he said this, he suddenly paused and added, besides, don't you want to be famous throughout the world? Hear this. Nami was speechless. It is impossible to say that you don't want to become famous. Only. Nami never thought that it would be heard all over the world in such a way. Now that you're on my ship, you have to get used to this kind of thing from now on. Lin Yan laughed, patted Nami on the shoulder, and then added, this storm is about to begin. While talking. But I saw it on the sea level not far away. Suddenly a huge battleship appeared. Even though they are far apart, Lin Yan and Nami can still feel the luxury of Yamato on the giant ship. This is the fleet from Marie Joya, carrying the celestial dragons who claim to be descendants of the king. On the deck of the giant ship, Saint Bartholomew, who was wearing a fishbowl hood, lowered his head and looked at the small boat in the distance of the giant ship. Saint Bartholomew frowned, why is there a ship in front? On the side, after the subordinates saw this scene, they quickly came to the front of the giant ship and shouted loudly, where did you come from? Who allowed you to appear in this sea area? Get out of the way of the great Saint Bartholomew. Untouchable? Bartholomew St? Lin Yan had never heard of this name. But since the word holy is hanging on it, you don't need to think about it to know that this guy must be a celestial dragon. Lin Yan narrowed his eyes, and his body turned into a ball of flame. He stood up from the ground and rushed towards the giant wheel in an instant. On deck, Lin Yan fell from the sky and hit the ground. The violent movement caused the entire giant wheel to be shaken. Saint Bartholomew looked at Lin Yan in front of him. Although he had runny nose, it did not affect his arrogance at all. He shouted, untouchable, who let you board my ship? After Lin Yan came up, the surrounding escorts and crew members instantly drew out their weapons and blocked the 3 outer and outer floors of Bartholomew's Saint. Everyone clearly realized that Lin Yan was coming with bad intentions. If only Saint Bartholomew had suffered. They definitely can't eat and walk around. Lin Yan glanced at them, the so-called Tianlong people, are these the only guards? What do you want to do? The subordinate next to Bartholomew Saint pointed at Lin Yan and shouted. Can't you see? Rob the ship. Lin Yanfen replied calmly. Crazy guy. Hear this. The middle-aged man had veins popping out on his forehead. He has never heard anything like this since he became a subordinate of the Tianlong people. Who are the celestial dragons? Because they think so highly of themselves, they even disdain to breathe the same air as ordinary people. They range from ordinary pirates to powerful men from all walks of life in the New World. Who dares to attack the celestial dragons? Who doesn't know what kind of price will be incurred by offending the celestial dragons? This ship is a giant ship of the world government. Not to mention pirates, even those strong men from all walks of life have to steal it when they see it. What's the result? The young man in front of me. The hijacking of the ship went to the head of the Tianlong people. The middle-aged man yelled, do you know what you are talking about? The owner of this ship is the fleet under the banner of the Great Bartholomew, the world noble of Marigio. Blind your dog's eyes, and quickly give it to the great Bartholomew. Lord Miao Sheng, please kneel down and apologize, so that we can leave you with a complete body. He, ha 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 ha. Lin Yan transformed into Uchiha and laughed wildly at the four heroes, and the sound of laughter echoed on the deck. Why are you laughing? The middle-aged man asked. I hope you can still be as unruly as you are now. The words fell. Lin Yan dodged and disappeared. Chapter 22. On a light boat. A Saint Bartholomew with a bruised nose, swollen face, tears and bruises on his face was lying on the boat. Lin Yan and Nami were watching. Especially Nami, looking up and down, as if entering a zoo to look at rare treasures. Is this the celestial dragon who is known as the clan of gods? Nami really can't believe it. Why do the celestial dragons look like this? He is short in stature, covered in fat, and extremely ugly. The clothes he wears also look extremely expensive. Such people. Is it really as miraculous as the outside world says? You two damn untouchables, how dare you attack the great Saint Bartholomew? I must turn you into my slaves, torture you so hard, and make your life worse than death. Although he had turned into a pig's head, he was lying on the ground covered in fat and was out of breath. But even so, Saint Bartholomew still had anger in his eyes, and he kept cursing and shouting at Lin Yan and Nami. The current situation is not clear at all. Seeing the other party's appearance, Lin Yan had a smile on his lips. He is as arrogant as ever, and has an IQ that cannot match his status. He is so stupid that it makes people laugh. This sour smell hits my face. Lin Yan hugged his hands, and Janin couldn't help but smile. The smell of Tianlong is too strong. Captain, what are you going to do next? Nami was curious about what Lin Yan wanted to do next. The celestial dragons are undoubtedly a hot potato. If one is not handled properly, I'm afraid they will all end badly. I do have an idea. Lin Yan already had a plan. The power of the dark fruit emerged on his arm. Take a step forward. Lin Yan put a hand on Bartholomew Saint's head. The power of the dark fruit poured in. I saw Saint Bartholomew's cheeks suddenly began to swell in front of me, his facial features began to distort in an ugly way, his body spasmed one after another, and his wailing voice resounded throughout the ship, and finally turned into a low pitch. Holy Land Marijoya. In Pangu City, the base of world government, in a magnificent hall, the 5 elders gathered together. Compared with their previous high spirits, their faces at this moment were so cold that they could drip with water. In front of them, kneeling was a trembling middle-aged man. Next to the middle-aged man, there was a fat pig lying on his stomach. This fat pig only had its last breath left. It was dying, as if it was about to die. I'm asking you again, is this guy really Saint Bartholomew? One of the 5 elders, Topman Warble Lisheng, who had the code name of Mercury, almost said this through gritted teeth. Yes, it's Saint Bartholomew, I saw it with my own eyes, I saw that guy holding down Saint Bartholomew's head, and I don't know what evil method he used, and then Saint Bartholomew became this pig. The middle-aged man hasn't finished speaking yet. Bang! The bullet passed through his head. His head exploded on the spot. The scene was dripping with blood, and the red and white liquids were mixed together, looking so out of place in this vast palace. Saint Topman Woli threw aside the gun that was emitting gunpowder smoke. He looked at the other 5 elders behind him. Saint Bartholomew's body is full of traces of the dark fruit. He is currently the only one in the world. A known dark fruit ability user is none other than Lin Yan, who betrayed the Whitebeard pirates a while ago. Saint Marcus Mars frowned deeply, and the anger in his heart had reached an uncontrollable level. He angrily shouted, "Isn't this guy a nobody? Where does he have the courage to dare to attack the Tianlong people?" Shepherd 10 Peter Saint followed closely. I just took action against the celestial dragon. I even used the power of the dark fruit to turn him into a pig. If I don't give him severe punishment, who will put the celestial dragon in the future? In the eyes. Zimbalong V Nasu Langsheng lowered his head and said coldly, "We must not let this news spread. The influence this time is too bad, to be honest. If only the Tianlong people were killed. They can spread the news to the outside world, saying that the ignorant pirates have angered the celestial dragons, and they can call on Marine to encircle and suppress them." Not only did it protect the face of the world government, but it also discouraged the pirates from taking action against the celestial dragons. But the problem is, Saint Bartholomew has now been turned into a fat pig by the dark fruit. This nature. But it has completely changed. This is not only a slap in the face of the world government, but also tramples on the supreme dignity of the Tianlong people. A little Lin Yan dared to do this, God knows what the other pirates thought. If the news spreads throughout the new world, not only the world government, but also the other celestial dragons they have guarded for more than 800 years will lose their face. Celestial dragon equals fat pig. This is much more serious than simply killing a celestial dragon. Just when several people were discussing how to deal with this matter, the door of the palace was opened. A leader from Pangu city, dressed in a suit and with beads of sweat on his forehead, hurried in. My lords, something bad has happened. A newspaper fell in front of the 5 elders. The moment he saw the newspaper, the table was kicked over by the hot-tempered topman Walgreens. There is a bold and eye-catching headline on the newspaper. Shocking! The true identity of the celestial dragons, known as the Clan of Gods, is actually, directly below the newspaper are photos of Saint Bartholomew before and after he became a fat pig. The photo was just average, but the traces of Saint Bartholomew could still be discerned. In the main hall, no one can describe their feelings in words. A hole, a hole, a hole. How dare he bring the news about Saint Bartholomew to the world? This guy is so lawless. Warring States, ask Warring States to come here personally and increase the reward for Lin Yan to 2 billion. Regardless of life or death, as long as I can capture him, I will definitely cut him into pieces. Also, inform the intelligence agencies and the CP organization that no matter what, even if Lin Yan escapes to the ends of the earth, he must be eliminated. The 5 elders were completely angered by Lin Yan's behavior. Chapter 23. As the newspapers fermented, the story about the celestial dragon Saint Bartholomew turned into a fat pig. It has already spread throughout the world. The moment I saw the newspaper, not only the Marines were shaken, the world government was shaken. Even the pirates on the Grand Line were shocked by it. Under ordinary circumstances, not to mention attacking the celestial dragons, if you see the celestial dragons not kneeling down, it is already a huge offense. How could it be like Lin Yan, who directly turned Tianlong into a pig's head? At this moment, whether it is the 4 seas or the Great Sea route, because the news is too exciting. In less than 2 days, things have reached an unstoppable level. This is still a state where the world government and marine have intervened. But it still couldn't hold back the rising popularity among the people. This is really crazy. For the celestial dragons, as long as he is a normal person, few people will have a favorable opinion of him. It's just that because of his identity, he dares not speak out in anger at his arrogant and domineering behavior. Now, suddenly news came that shocked the world. The Tianlong people were not only captured, but even reduced to this. Those who have been oppressed by the Tianlong people only feel extremely happy in their hearts. And Lin Yan's name has once again set off a wave of craze on the Grand Route. Sabayati Island's Tavern. Have you heard? There is news about Saint Bartholomew, the celestial dragon who has become popular recently. This newspaper has been filled with newspapers all over the world, and everyone knows who doesn't know. I really didn't expect that this aloof Tianlong man would be turned into a fat pig. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying to be able to punish these people who do all kinds of evil. I like Lin Yan's character. But having said that, is this really good? This guy Lin Yan was originally wanted by the Whitebeard pirates, and now he has provoked Marine. If you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten that this guy is even offered a 1 billion reward by the Whitebeard pirates. Do you know where this Lin Yan is? Marine has offered a bounty of 2 billion, and the Whitebeard pirates have offered a bounty of 1 billion. A fledgling guy has such a high bounty. Don't tell me, I'm really excited. You can pull him down. This guy is probably hiding now. It's not easy to find him. At Marine, I heard that the Warring States period went to Marigio and was punished. After returning to Marineland, the generals took action personally and must capture this guy alive. Aren't these 5 elders going crazy? There's a good show to watch. Inside the tavern, there were voices of discussion everywhere. Some people applauded, some stood aside and watched, and some waited to see the show. But more importantly, he still coveted Lin Yan's reward. Many people are gearing up. I want to make a lot of money. When the news outside is overwhelming. New World. Among the Whitebeard pirates. Compared with their hatred for Lin Yan a while ago, the Whitebeard pirates now look forward to the stars and the moon, and finally get news about Lin Yan. Finally I saw some clues about Lin Yan in the newspaper. A sudden scene. Naturally, it attracted the attention of many crew members. Any news about the traitor? Look, what is it? Wait, let me read this newspaper. Shocked. The Celestial Dragons, known as the Clan of Gods. A crew member took the newspaper and began to read its content. But I keep thinking about it. The crew member suddenly felt something was wrong. This content. The news that it was Lin Yan was true. What does it mean to add Tianlong people? Doubts arose in the minds of the crew members, and they read the entire article immediately. However, that's it. The crew members only felt that they had been hit hard in their minds, and they all fell silent. No. What does it mean? Lin Yan, he. Why did you suddenly attack the Tianlong people? And also turn the Tianlong people into fat pigs? The crew members who read the newspaper were a little confused. He realized that this was no ordinary trivial matter. The news must be known to Dad as soon as possible. Dad, look at this newspaper, it's about Lin Yan. The crew quickly ran onto the Moby DK, came to Whitebeard, and presented the newspaper in their hands. What happened on the sea recently? Why are you so panicked? Whitebeard glanced at the crew member and said. It's Lin Yan, there's news about Lin Yan in the newspaper. Although the crew member was panting, he could still manage to answer. The words Lin Yan are already like a forbidden area on the Moby DK. Hear the words of the crew. Marco, Josie, and Baista, who were on the side, immediately turned their heads. About Lin Yan? What's the news? What did this guy do? Why is he on the news? Are you going to take action against our pirate crew? The three Marcos came to Whitebeard. Dad, you, see for yourself. The crew ran too hastily and just placed the newspaper in front of Whitebeard. When Whitebeard heard this, he also became serious. He took the crew member's newspaper and read it carefully out of curiosity. However, after reading it, Whitebeard also fell silent. There was surprise, doubt, and confusion on his face. Since this newspaper can be delivered to the waters of the Whitebeard pirates, it is enough to prove that this news has already resounded throughout the New World. Lin Yan him. They really took action against the Tianlong people. Seeing my father look like this. The three Marcos also took the newspapers one by one. Just finished watching it. Several people couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. This, is Lin Yan crazy? It's not enough to beat up the Celestial Dragon, he even turned the Celestial Dragon into a pig's head. Josie opened his mouth, his face full of surprise. Is this really the Lin Yan we know? When did he have such courage? Doesn't it feel enough for him to be wanted by our pirate group? He even dares to provoke the Celestial Dragons. Baista was also in disbelief. I'm afraid that not only General Marine's encirclement and suppression, but also the group of guys in the world government will definitely not let Lin Yan stay alive on the Grand Line. Now Lin Yan is really in danger. Marco rubbed his chin and thought. Whitebeard read the newspaper. Although Whitebeard didn't want to start a wanted hunt for Lin Yan, he couldn't stand the people below and wanted to avenge Baista. This also led to the fact that the reward for the Whitebeard pirates had not been removed for a long time. When he was wanted by his own people. Logically speaking, Lin Yan should hide as much as possible now. 1 billion baileys, a reward for a weak person. Those pirates and bounty hunters would never let Lin Yan go. A normal person would choose to hide and avoid being hunted. But Lin Yan was fine. Not only did he not hide, he even did the opposite. Long time no see. Directly poke out such a huge hole. This scene. Even Whitebeard had to sigh. Lived so long. He has never seen such a death-seeking person. Of course. Suicide is suicidal. But Whitebeard laughed loudly and raised the newspaper in his hand. Lin Yan, this guy, has really grown up fast enough, and now he dares to do such big things, but he just doesn't know, can this guy survive being surrounded by Marine? Marco said, Dad, Ace still refuses to come back. A while ago, Marco received an order from Whitebeard and personally went to find Ace, hoping to get him to return. Unfortunately, Ace refused outright. He bluntly said that he must avenge Sachi, and he would not return until Lin Yan was caught. Marco was helpless. We can only return to Moby DK. Whitebeard put down the newspaper, closed his eyes and sighed, let him go. It would be great if we brought Lin Yan back. Chapter 24. Just a few days. Not to mention the whitebeard pirates. The news that the celestial dragons had turned into fat pigs had also reached the ears of the other 4 emperors. The red-haired pirates. This Lin Yan, is the pirate who betrayed the whitebeard pirates a while ago, right? Shanks looked at the newspaper in his hand and asked Ben Beckman. It's him. Ben Beckman has always been known for his calmness, but at this moment, he couldn't hold himself back. I really didn't expect that this guy didn't even get rid of the pursuit of the whitebeard pirates, but he turned around and killed the Tianlong people. I have offended the world government. 2 billion bounty, tisk tisk tisk, those guys from 5 elders should be furious now. Holding a chicken drumstick in his hand, Lachilo looked like he was watching a good show. It's more than just turning into a pig, and even making it public, ha 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 ha, even though Mary Joa is very quiet now, I'm afraid everyone inside has already left. Jesus laughed loudly. Lin Yan did something he had always wanted to do but failed to do. All in all, from this bad incident, we can see that Lin Yan is definitely not a simple guy. If we meet him in the future, he will never turn against him if he can. Ben Beckman warned. I just don't know how Whitebeard feels. Shanks looked towards the sky, a strange color flashing in his eyes. Big Mom Pirates. Is this guy really from the Whitebeard Pirates? How can he be so tormented? Katakuri grabbed the newspaper, and there were a few wrinkles on it, and he frowned. I don't know what he was thinking. He offended the Whitebeard pirates, and now he's offended the world government. Does he think his death was not miserable enough? Sparrow stuck out his long tongue and shouted angrily. Haha, just watch the show. This guy Lin Yan helped us get rid of a captain of the Whitebeard pirates, which weakened the power of the Whitebeard pirates. I hope there are more people like this. One of the 3 generals, Smoothie, sat on a chair with his legs crossed and said in an indifferent tone. Beast pirates. In a cave. Kaido, who smelled of alcohol, looked at the newspaper in front of him and didn't speak for a long time. Even the wine jar in his hand was frozen in the air. To his left and right are the other 3 major boards of the beast pirates. Yin, Quinn, and Ship King Jack. Interesting. After a long time, Kaido finally said this. The Grand Line. Unknown waters. A lonely ship is drifting on the sea. Shocking. The true identity of the celestial dragons, known as the Clan of Gods, is actually, look at the headlines in the newspaper. Lin Yan raised the corner of his mouth. Good. That's exactly the title he came up with. The UC department should be lacking talents like me. A few days down. Lin Yan's reward rose to 2 billion. Not just myself. Even Nami on the side was found by Marine from nowhere because of his advice and Lin Yan's crew status, and the reward was directly raised to 300 million belly. The moment I saw the reward notice, Nami's eyes widened. This. Is this a bounty of 300 million baileys? The dragon pirates who were so arrogant in the East China Sea did so many evil things and were so notorious, but they only had 20 million belly. A blink of an eye. He surpassed them by more than 15 times? And the most important thing is, it seems like I haven't done anything. Certainly. It's not like she didn't do anything, at least she pointed the way. But even so, it also made Nami feel that this was a bit too magical. But this also proves from the side what the celestial dragons mean to the world government. Congratulations to host for completing the side mission, big event requirement, as a pirate, you must have a well-known influence. Please ask host to complete a major event that will shock the world, and make host's reward for this major event exceed 1 billion. The current marine bounty is 2 billion. Reward, no limit judgment based on the events done by the host, the stronger the influence, the higher the judgment level. Rewards are being determined, big event, attack on the celestial dragons, shocking Marie Joya, the world is boiling, and attracting worldwide attention. Reward, S level. Congratulations to host, you won the S level lottery. Another S level reward. A flash of enthusiasm flashed in Lin Yan's eyes. Dear host, do you want to hold an S level lottery? Yes. The S level rewards are being drawn, the drawing is complete. Congratulations to host for getting 5 years of training experience, all attributes increased by 5 levels, and fairy beans x10. Lin Yan glanced over. Really? And the S level rewards are much more awesome. Lin Yan's eyes fell on the last fairy bean. Fairy beans, flesh and bones of living and dead people, Take one pill and you can instantly recover all injuries and physical strength, and you don't need to eat for 10 days. Note, major diseases cannot be cured. Restores all injuries and stamina. Isn't this the thing in Dragon Ball? Talk about it. There is something really supermodel about this sendu thing. You'd say it's fine for early use. In the later period, martial arts conferences were held throughout the universe. Turns out the fairy beans still come in handy. Really perverted. But when this perverted thing falls into his hands, Lin Yan could only smile and say nothing. What perversion? What supermodel? Did I say that? The existence of any door allows Lin Yan to shuttle back and forth in the lit area, which is really a weapon for escape. And the existence of fairy beans is equivalent to giving Lin Yan 10 lives. If I can't beat you, it's okay, I can kill you even if I kill you. The great sage plays like the great sage, and the horse has the playing style of the horse. With these two abilities, as long as the opponent doesn't lose him for a second, he is equivalent to already having the capital to be undefeated. Character, Lin Yan. Talent, Outstanding Fruit, Dark Fruit LV60. Ability, Physical Skills LV65. Haki, Armed Haki LV62, Knowledge Haki LV60, Conqueror's Haki LV60. Item, Any Door, Fairy Beans X10. Look at your character panel. With the introduction of 2S level rewards, Lin Yan at this moment, even in the future, you may not be able to win yourself down in one fell swoop. And once you can't take it, combined with any door and fairy beans, Lin Yan could definitely fight back. In other words, facing a strong man at the level of a general, I also have the strength to compete with it. Chapter 25. Are the supplies gone? I have been wandering on the sea for a long time and caused such a big incident. I haven't landed on the island for a long time. Even the food in the system warehouse was squandered. It's time to go to the island for supplies. In a small town. The town is not big, but it has a population of hundreds of households. Because it deviates from the main waterway, young people have gone out to explore, and those who continue to stay on the island are the older generation. Work from sunrise to sunset, living an ordinary life. After bringing all the big and small bags, Lin Yan is ready to set sail again. Suddenly, he glanced at Nami out of the corner of his eye. After thinking for a while, Lin Yan said, "Nami, how many clothes do you still have on the boat?" "Well..." Nami was stunned for a moment and said, "Why do you ask this? The weather on this grand route is complicated and unpredictable. It would be bad if you catch a cold." Lin Yan replied. "Hear this?" Nami lowered his head slightly. I didn't expect that Lin Yan would pay attention to this. She said warmly, "It's okay, I have enough clothes." Lin Yan insisted, "No, I see you only have those few sets of clothes coming back and forth. As my navigator, how can you wear such shabby clothes? Buy more. You don't have to worry about money. Women have a unique fascination with shopping. Nami is no exception. In the past, we often lived in dire straits. As a result, she rarely cares about spending money. But things are different now. Everyone has a love for beauty. The same goes for Nami." Lin Yan was willing to go shopping with him. How could she be unhappy? Nami asked expectantly, "Really? Walk. Just do it." Lin Yan took Nami around the streets of the town. An hour later, Nami looked at the several sets of JK clothing and various styles of black silk in her hands and fell into deep thought. All purchased. The two returned to the ship together. Etc. Just when Nami was about to board the boat, Lin Yan suddenly raised his hand and pulled Nami. "What's wrong?" Nami still wanted to ask, but turned around and saw Lin Yan's serious expression. Moment. She seemed to realize something. Lin Yan pulled Nami behind him. His eyes swept around. "Come out." After a long time, Lin Yan said coldly. In the surrounding jungle, the breeze swayed the grass and trees. From behind the giant tree, 5 men wearing white suits, white robes, and strange masks walked out. The moment he saw these people, Lin Yan narrowed his eyes and said their identities, CP0. Yes. The person who came here is one of the lackeys of the world government, a member of the CP organization, CP0. Previously, among the whitebeard pirates, Lin Yan has seen the power of the CP organization before. CP organization. It has bypassed the marine and the world government, and is directly affiliated with the World Noble, that is, a member of the Celestial Dragons. It is one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world. The ruthlessness of its members is rare in ancient times. Among CP9, Liu Qi is a good example. In order to become stronger, do whatever it takes. The people may not know much about it. But anyone who has the ability. Who doesn't know their names? Although Nami didn't know what CP0 was, she clearly felt that the other party was coming for her based on his posture. Lin Yan and Nami. A person from the intelligence agency. The action is ruthless. After just one encounter, the silver light struck down, and the sword's light and shadow had already fallen on Lin Yan's body. Just for a moment. Lin Yan hugged Nami's waist. The two of them quickly backed away. Just as they left, they heard a bang and a crack was created in the ground. Lin Yan glanced at the 5 people wearing masks and said, "The 5 elders are really brave, even you are sent out. If you touch the Tianlong people, you won't be able to walk out alive today." The leader of the CP0 member swung his sword, his cold light revealed, and his voice was like a cold machine, without any emotion. Lin Yan placed Nami aside. "Wait for me here." "Say it." He turned around. Lin Yan's eyes focused on the 5 people in front of him, and he said, "It's really scary to be threatened by people from the CP organization. Are you going to attack one by one or together?" Being able to step into the CP organization is enough to prove that their abilities are outstanding. It's like being under Lucci's command. Whether it's Bruno or Khalifa, everyone is on their own. It's obvious. The same is true for the 5 people from the CP0 organization in front of me. Able to sneak and track one's whereabouts. Their strength is evident in Madara. Listening to Lin Yan's words, the unknown CP0 leader sneered, "Humph, you really think highly of yourself. I am enough to deal with a nobody like you." They also investigated Lin Yan's identity. But he is just an inconspicuous pirate in the Whitebeard pirates. After practicing for so many years, he still looks like he can't help himself. I don't know where he got the courage to dare to challenge the world government and the Tianlong people. Since you insist on seeking death, then I will make it happen for you. Go to hell. The unknown leader of the CP0 organization dropped a harsh word. Then the whole person transformed into a suit of wind, stepping on one of the 6 styles of moonwalk and shaving. At the same time, the armed domineering energy attached to his arm, and he punched Lin Yan in the face. However, at the moment he acted, Lin Yan also started to move. In just one breath, he came to the unknown CP0 leader. The last move came first, and before he had time to react, Lin Yan's dark arm full of dark fruits was already pressing on his head. On the palm of the hand, a vortex appeared in it. Lin Yan said, "Dark water." The next moment, the unknown CP0 leader was directly sucked into the dark water. Lin Yan waved with one hand. A piece of withered bones was thrown out of the dark water and hit the ground. This process only takes seconds. The unknown leader of the CP0 organization still doesn't understand what happened. His life. But it has been taken away by Lin Yan. The scene that suddenly appeared made the other 4 people from the CP0 organization stunned. Although they were wearing masks, it was not difficult to see that their hearts were boiling at the moment. Although the unknown CP0 leader is not very powerful among the entire CP organization. But among the 5 of them, their strength is second to none. But even so, still no match for the pirate in front of me. One move. He was taken away with just one move. A body of strong muscles went in, but when it came out, it turned into a pile of bones. Is this the power of the dark fruit? At this time, Lin Yan's gaze. He also glanced in the direction of the 4 of them. Who's next? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you're notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.